Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 33 of Friday Night WrestleCast. I'm your host, Richard Billet Jr., and tonight I'm joined by Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
Man, Brock is gonna break Bruno Sammartino's record of holding that belt, man. Ooh, he's gonna have it for life.
You're right, and also CM Punk, since that date is coming up very soon, so we'll see. We're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
It's going terrible. I saw Infinity Wars. I'm in mourning.
Oh, whoa. Okay, well, don't worry. We still got another movie to see what else happens. All right, and we're also joined by Mr. Ricardo Negron. How's it going, Ricky?
Glad to be here for this not so special Saturday edition.
Yes, absolutely. And just to play, to go off a conversation we had earlier, Ricky, I would like to start this show by offering an apology to everybody that if you was expecting us to do a show yesterday, because this is Friday Night WrestleCast. Unfortunately, we were stuck watching a horrible event that we were going to get into here in a little bit. So we do apologize for that, but we'll definitely speak a lot about what we thought about the event at the very least tonight. So before we get into that discussion, I'm going to pass the mic over to Dana, as there is some news topics that she wanted to mention very briefly. So Dana, the floor is yours, and Adam, go ahead and cue the music.
Oh my God.
Never gets old. That was a remix edition.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It was like Shinsuke for a moment there.
What was that about? Oh, shit. The Shinsuke.
England, Adish may have suffered a neck injury after taking a tombstone from the Undertaker. So hopefully he's all right.
I thought he squashed that on his Twitter, though. I could have sworn I saw something he sent out. It's like, oh, he still felt kind of cool that he was able to take the tombstone from Undertaker or something. But I don't know. The way they were making it, like he was just really selling it.
And yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll see. Yeah, no, it's true. They could be covering it up.
They'll be covering up. Daniel Bryan did it for months.
Yeah,
so
I want to say the Undertaker hurt him. It's like, shit.
No,
can't do that.
Nobody wants to see the Undertaker anymore. So there goes that. Triple H has announced through Raw, SmackDown Live, 205 Live, and NXT, the WWE has their biggest roster ever with over 220 signed talent. So 220 people and only 4 spots available at the top.
Nice.
Good luck.
Numbers make sense to me.
The 1,000th episode of SmackDown is set for October 16th and is planned to be an all hands on deck show. So get ready for more disappointment like the Raw 25 show. WWE has made $200 million for just hosting the greatest Royal Rumble. So good for them. And that doesn't include merchandise sales and other stuff. So Alexa, if you've noticed, has not been wrestling that much. She wasn't really featured on TV, and that is because she has got a boob job. So she's waiting for her little boobs to heal so she can go back to acting in full. If you want to see how that's looking, she's very proud of the job, and it's on Instagram. 4 years ago, we lost WWE Warrior Award recipient Connor the Crusher. So he passed away. He was 8 years old, so rest in peace to him. Mickie James and Ronda Rousey is going to fight. It looks like it's going to be at Backlash pay-per-view. So we're going to get that before they go on the UK tour, if you're excited for that. That seems to be it. Very short week. Not much has happened.
Yeah, well, not much. Yeah, I mean, because everything usually cools down in wrestling world after Mania, because it's like a restart. It's like, all right, well, got to set this up. I mean, outside of WWE, the only big to do it's what is it? What's the one that Cody's doing? His own pay-per-view event.
All In.
All in. and they're building up that card. So that's the only big one that I know of that's going on out there. So yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yep. And if you're interested in WWE stock, it surpassed $40 for the first time ever. So congratulations to those who have stock.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know about that. So yeah, we'll see. All right, so thank you for the news stories, Dana. Now we're going to dive into and have a uncensored discussion about the greatest Royal Rumble event. First and foremost, obviously, I wanted to ask you guys initially, based on what we saw of the event. We're going to get into the matches and stuff here momentarily, but I want to ask you guys, how did you think everything looked on camera as far as the actual arena, the way they set it up? Was you impressed, or did you wasn't impressed by any of that?
They had pyro, man. They brought back the pyro. They had fireworks and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's weird. It felt like a big show, but still had that feel of a house show. I don't know. Maybe it was a stage setup, but everything else, I mean, it was a massive stadium with like 70,000 plus or something was there, sold out. Every match was a big match. Like, this was a huge event. This could have been mini Mania if you think about it. Like the way they put together all the segments, and they had the ladder match and with the Rumble, with the main event. I mean, the only thing that it also felt like a house show is some of the endings, to some of these matches, which we'll talk about. But man, besides that, I don't know. It was interesting. This was like probably the first real big event that was on the network, because I remember they've done the Madison Square Garden and a few other things, but that was like, oh, you're showing us a house show, okay, whatever. But this was interesting because like we even talked about before, it's like 50-man Royal Rumble. It's okay, you're calling this the best Royal Rumble, the biggest right here, and it's kind of sucks later on that next year, well, this year now, we're just going to get the normal 30, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be boo-hooing that, because I'm like, damn. And the worst part was when they were like, oh, Daniel Bryan he's already broken the record for being in there the longest time. Well, that shouldn't count, because that's under a record of a 30-man Rumble. This is 50-man Rumble. So that should not count, because it's a lot longer now. So whatever, they're going to go with that. But it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't too bad. I mean, from what we got to see and what was expected, it was a fun show, and the people were into it. That was always great. I mean, Michael Cole, or maybe it was Vince when he's feeding it in, but he was pointing out every time they chanted, this was awesome. It was like, oh, see, the crowd here knows the product. They love it. They love it, and they were all into it. So that was cool. And it was something about watching it live going on across the world, and just everybody involved. It was fun. It was fun for that.
Now, I believe you told me that you were able to watch it during the day when it actually happened, because
yeah. No, I work, where I work, I have my own computer, destination wherever, and it's unfiltered. I have no blocks, so I can run it, and everybody knew that I was running it, and there's other wrestling fans in the audience at my job. So then I have when I sit at my desk, because I don't really get too many calls, I have my headset on, right? So then that way I can listen to my music and work and stuff. And so I just had it minimized, and I could hear it. And whenever there was a big match or something coming up, then I would just bring it up, whoop, and then people come by, who's winning this match now? What's going on? And so it was funny because I had it from 10 till like 4. Because it was like, that shit was long, man.
Yeah, it's too long. Too long.
I mean, the pre-show had no matches. I thought they were the whole point of the kickoff, because they've been doing that lately, is putting a match on it. So I thought there was going to be a match on it. So I had it on. I'm like, yo, they're just talking. It was nonstop hyping it. I was like, oh, whatever. But yeah, no, I watched the whole thing, and it was interesting. It was interesting to see it all, but some good points, some bad points. But besides that, not that bad. Overall, the performance of it, everybody, all the wrestlers came to work. I mean, they came to see this as a big money event. It wasn't like a house show feel. Some people say, yeah, these wrestlers, sometimes someone's like, oh, well, I treat every day like it's in front of a thousand. That's bullshit. No, you don't. because I've been to some house shows where it looked people like just the wrestler just wanted to get their 5 minutes in and go. So I didn't get that vibe from this. They knew they were, everyone was treating it like it was a huge pay-per-view, and from the sound of it, it probably will be. I could see this happening once a year, like you said. Before we talked about it, it's like what multi-year, 10-year deal. So we might see Greatest Royal Rumble 2 and 3 and 4.
Well, I'm just gonna make 2 comments about that. If it does happen, we get some more in the future. Hopefully, it will not be around the same time as WrestleMania, because after watching WrestleMania for about 7+ hours, and then watching this event the exact same month that WrestleMania concluded, I think that's a little bit too much wrestling for me. So I hope that
never enough wrestling. Are you kidding me?
Oh no!
It's a lot. There's a lot of product out there. I mean, we've never had this in the history of wrestling so much. If you think about it, like just from broadcasting, from the other promotions and other pay-per-views and in-house pay-per-views and shows, because you got Raw 3 hours, SmackDown 2 hours, 205 1 hour, NXT 1 hour. You know what I mean? It adds up. It adds up. All new content every week. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right. So, any other thoughts on the actual show itself before we get into the matches? If Ricky or Dana, you have anything you want to add?
I think that I watched a different show than everybody else. It felt like one of those exhibition shows for a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids. Everyone showed up.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Like my people in Spanish Harlem said, pero why? It's like, what are you talking about? It was not that bad.
Yes, it was. Like,
No.
¿por qué? Bad.
Why?
Everything, it felt like the greatest highlights of Botchmania. Like, no one really, I didn't like it.
So for full context, did you watch it live or did you watch it afterwards?
I watched it live. And
Why, did they change something from the replay? Did they change something?
No. I watched it. I watched it on delay because I didn't have the luxury of watching it at work. It was some days at work is pretty quiet. I can just be on my computer and pull up the network and things like that. But Friday was crazy, and I had to be on site at another location for the whole day. So I actually told Rich, like, no spoilers. I put the phone on silent. I put all my other friends on silent, and I avoided social media and all that stuff. And I went home right after work and put on the network and okay, let's start this. I even went through the pre-show, and I saw the pre-show was just a big waste of time. So I fast forward through all of it.
See, I didn't even know Rich didn't want spoilers, because I was sending him play-by-play.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, no spoilers. I was like, I didn't know. I thought you wanted to know. I mean, some people didn't really care. They were like, yo, just tell me who wins, because they weren't expecting much. I know a lot of people, a lot of wrestling fans, they were not expecting much to come from this. They were seeing it as a glorified house show.
It was a glorified house show.
It was.
No, I don't know. I felt like there was some. You know what? Because I went to house shows and never had all of this. I never had a 50-man Royal Rumble and a ladder match and a cage match. You know what I mean? All in one. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah.
This is where the wish comes from. They wanted to please the audience.
Well, they gotta get their money's worth.
It's money's worth. You're getting $200 million deals behind this, so you have to show up.
Man, they brought Hornswoggle back for this. That's when you know they went big time.
It's the most expensive, the most overproduced house show in the history of WWE. That's exactly what it was. The only thing that it didn't have that most house shows do is those little comedy segments that they do with the heel, begging or pretending to do the. Well, actually, that's not true.
They did one. They
did one with Drew Gulak, Tony Nese doing his whole thing with New Day, right?
Oh no, they did too. Remember they had the 4 guys that were from Saudi Arabia that won their tryouts.
Oh yeah, that was
came out.
That was messed up because I don't think I don't think Vince realizes or cares just how bad the blood is between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Oh no, they know. That's why Sami Zayn wasn't there because he's Syrian.
Yeah.
So they know that much, but the whole thing was just to get their people over, and that's what happened. You have some guys come in with Iran and they're like, "Oh, we're Iran," and they had the flag and the whole thing, and then they have the local boys kick their ass.
Right, like, look, it was cute, and this is where I think, like, they did it for the audience, and you can tell that this was for them, but it was everything was just messed up. Like it was just messed up. I'm sorry, it was like Raw 25. Basically.
So to put it basically in general was that the matches didn't feel like they mattered. There was no real build to any of them. There was no real build to any of these matches.
The bad ridiculous.
Well, hold on a second.
So then I think we gotta get to these matches then.
Yeah. Let's get to the matches because I have a couple other things to say, but I'm gonna save that for later in the show.
Am I the one who didn't like the set?
The set was nothing special. That was what I was talking about before. There was nothing special with the set, but they had fireworks, man. They had fireworks. So
they had more fireworks than WrestleMania, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They
well, didn't people that came out with fireworks. That had
the Miz had fireworks, for goodness sake.
Well, hey,
John Cena had fireworks, and Triple H. They panned it to Triple H, and he looked at John Cena. And he looked up like, "Yo, I didn't even get this when I came out." When John Cena gets fireworks.
Well, they listen. All the money that went to that, I'm pretty sure that their fireworks. Yeah, they definitely was going to be a part of this. So, but no, we'll get into a couple of that other stuff in a little while. Let's go ahead and let's start going through the card because, as you guys said, so since you mentioned Triple H and John Cena, let's start off with that since that was the first match of the night. So, John Cena defeated Triple H in a regular singles match. The time of the match, 15 minutes and 45 seconds. So, what did you guys think of this match? Are you happy with the outcome, or what?
Expected outcome took too long.
Well, they were hyping this in a weird way too. They're like, "This is the first time they fought in 8 years," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." 8 years. I didn't know you had to keep track for someone. You know what I mean? It's like they never really had a feud type of thing, back and forth a little bit years ago. But 8 years, I don't know if you could brag about them coming back after. All right, whatever, it's done. Hey, at least they didn't do another Cena Orton that went for like 3 years straight. Shit. So it was what it was. It was just two big names to put in a match. That's all.
See. Go ahead, Dana.
No, I mean, I thought it was cute. I was surprised that he was able to do the crotch chop over there. I don't know about, the sensitivity of the crowd. It was cute, but it was corny. That's where it was corny. It was like for a bunch of kids. And remember, Cena came out to a bunch of kids.
Yeah. He's for the people. He's for the people.
God. I can't.
They had POD playing in the background. We are. You have a nation.
So my thoughts on this match is very simple, and I have to be very honest. This was one of those matches where I started to watch and I fell asleep because I had no interest in it whatsoever. I have respect for Triple H, all that he's done for NXT. John Cena is on his way out, but whatever. I know John Cena had a very rocky last couple of weeks, I guess you could say.
Fake news.
Fake. But even if we don't count that Nikki Bella situation, taking all those L's at every pay-per-view leading up to WrestleMania, and then taking the loss at WrestleMania, this guy has had a pretty rough year so far, I would say. So him getting the win, whatever. I didn't care because, as I said on last week's show, that's a match that I don't give a damn about. I feel like Vince is the one that looks at these guys and it still feels like, they not only is it star power, but this is a match that I want to see personally. So I'm going to book this match because I don't think there were too many people that was excited for this match. There is one thing I did notice, and we'll get into that later as far as the fans being excited about one thing, but this match, no, I could have done without this. So, happy for John Cena to get his victory or what have you, but this is one match where I didn't really give a damn who won either way because it has no value going forward. John Cena is going to go off and do another movie. He'll come back periodically. Maybe we'll see him again at SummerSlam for a match or whatever. And Triple H is too busy doing NXT, so he doesn't have any time to do anything else. So we'll see. But any other thoughts on this match before we move on to the next?
Sad.
Okay. Ricky, you have any thoughts? Are you good?
Yeah, I gave it a shot. I watched it. I forget how many minutes I went into it. I was like, this is dragging way too long. I'm going to just fast forward through it. And it's, I bet you Cena wins. And I got right to the point where Cena got the pin. Like, of course. And then he did his little speech afterwards. And I was like, this is a house show. That's how I knew right from the very beginning this was a damn house show. It was all pandering. It's all propaganda. We'll go into all that later. But this was a house show. The match felt cheap. It was whatever.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, I agree. All right, so we'll get Adam's thoughts if he has anything else he wants to add when he comes back.
Oh, can I add one more thing? Just I thought it was to kind of continue on something that you guys mentioned earlier. I thought it was a little strange how they kept harping on, these are two future Hall of Famers. Wow, look at these two, go, and they're fighting each other. It's like they're acting like we haven't seen that match 100 times already.
Yeah,
in the past. It's just like making it a big deal. It's just like, I don't know.
It's in Saudi Arabia, and they have to pretend that Saudi Arabians never seen wrestling before.
Yeah, but they do that to viewers every single week. They every single week.
Yep.
They pretend like everyone's stupid and they're watching wrestling for the very first time.
Well, that's Vince's doing there. You know that.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. That's we'll see. So let's move on to the next matchup. We had Cedric Alexander defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Kalisto and winning in 10 minutes and 15 seconds. So one thing I will say about this, last week when we talked about who Cedric's potential opponent was going to be, we were hoping that it was going to be Mustafa Ali. I would have been fine with that. The fact that we got Kalisto, I feel like, man, this is a match that I really don't know why it was even on the card to begin with. I mean, I'm glad that Cedric Alexander won, but I think it was obvious he was going to win. I don't think they were going to take the belt away from him, especially when this is who his opponent is. But yeah, it is this was a snore fest of a match for me. I want to see them put Cedric in actually better matches against better opponents. But again, as you guys said, this felt like a house show, so this is definitely something that was on that level. So how about you, Ricky? What was your thoughts on this match and the result?
I'm going to be completely honest. I fast forward through that one also. I was like, they gave Cedric his big moment a couple of weeks ago at WrestleMania. They weren't going to undo that by having Kalisto win it off of him in Saudi Arabia when Kalisto has already won the belt before and did nothing with it. So it was a match that didn't matter. Really, like I know I'm complaining here, and I'm going to be doing a lot of that. It's just that nothing felt important for the most part on the show, and like I'm trying to think of how to frame this. Nothing felt important on the show. And the matchups just seemed obvious. Like there were no real surprises to me as far as who won what at all. It was the complete opposite from WrestleMania where I couldn't predict anything worth a damn because whatever I thought was happening, the opposite happened. It was just kind of that was a crazy thing. But yeah, I mean, the Cruiserweight match could have been good, but I wouldn't know because I totally skipped it. I didn't care about it. And I figured Cedric was going to win anyway, and that's exactly what happened. So,
okay, so sounds good. Adam, since you and Dana are fans of 205 Live, so what did you think of this match?
It was a good match. I mean, they always put on a good match. I mean, everyone in 205 is legit. But it's sort of like what Ricky said. I didn't really see a belt change here. It just, and you have to understand something also.
Can I add one thing? Sorry, before we continue. Is that is it just me, or are they spamming the Spanish Fly move now on 205? Because I think they used it again.
Non-stop, but he did a variation. He did a variation where he bounced off the rope, like on the side. He didn't just grab him and flip. You know, but yeah, they're doing it nonstop because it's getting over, you know, with the crowd. People, there's a large majority of people that have never seen that move. And then when they see it, they're like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, but no, for real, there's a lot of people. I mean,
it's the Vince McMahon thing. Is that when one move gets over, it's like, okay, do it again. It's like when Dean Ambrose did the lariat, the off the rope lariat for the very first time against Cesaro. Everyone flipped out. They thought, oh, that was cool. But then he kept doing it, and then it's just like, oh. It's
nonstop. He'll do it 10 times in a match like that. Every time it just sucks. I hate that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the best that I've ever seen of the Spanish Fly is Johnny Mundo, you know, who does it over in Lucha Underground, where he'll Irish whip the guy, run the other way, and when they're running at each other, he'll grab him and flip. You know, that's awesome because it's like both in motion. You know, it's like a collision gone. Whoa, what just happened? You know, but yeah, no, we're seeing it nonstop. You know, Spanish Fly. So, but yeah, he did the variation where he bounced off the side of the rope when the guy was on the top turnbuckle, and then he did it. But yeah, I mean, it was a good match. But yeah, changing hands at this point, I didn't see it happening. You know, and we also, like I was bringing up, what we have to remember is that, and not everyone has the WWE Network. So a lot of people, I saw some of these predictions that people were putting up online saying, oh, we're going to see all these belts change hands and this and this and that. Like, I don't think so, because there's a large majority of people that are not going to see any of this, and they are going to be pissed if so many great moments and stuff happened, you know, during this event. And they're like, wow, you're sort of forcing us now to get this network. That kind of sucks. You know, people want to see it as an addition, not see it as like, well, that's where all the real action is happening. So, but it was a good match. I didn't see Kalisto winning it. He had the title already. He's won it, and this is Alexander's time. Yeah, you know, I was surprised actually that it was even Kalisto. I thought Mustafa Ali was a sure winner. Remember, I had talked about, it's like, oh, he's definitely going to win that gauntlet. He's going to make it, and he didn't happen. It's like, whoa, you know.
Well, Mustafa Ali is like Pakistani, I think, right, or like or something like
that. Yeah, but I know he's Muslim. He does practice. He's a practicing Muslim. So if anything, they could have went with that. You know, but they didn't want to go there with that, which is interesting because usually they go with those cheap pops. And as we saw later in the segment with the, you know, the Singh brothers coming in with the Iran, they do go with the cheap shit. So they still could have brought that up. But no, it was a good match. It was a good match. It's what we expect, you know, and that was it. But I didn't expect a title change at that point.
Okay, how about you, Dana? Any thoughts?
I thought that the crowd was disrespectful, and that this match was very good, actually.
What do you mean? They were cheering. They did the oohs and ahs.
They didn't do the full oohs and ahs. It was like, oh, woo. And then like they didn't. To me, I didn't really see them pay that much attention.
No,
to be perfectly fair, the reason why you didn't hear much of anything from the crowd because they were all like freaking far away. Because if you see the layout of how the stadium was, there was the VIP section, which was just like, I don't know how many rows, like maybe 8 rows. And then there was a big gap of nothing. And then you had like the second tier, third tier seats and all that. There was a lot of empty space around the ring where there normally would be like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of fans. They did not treat it like a WrestleMania in that sense because they did not fill up to capacity.
I don't understand the whole purpose of this setup. The whole thing was just weird and awkward.
It's just that separation type of thing. It's like, you know, you have the hierarchy and then you have the common folk, and that was it. It was like the hierarchy want to be close to the event. They had their own people serving them and all their own security and stuff. And then they leave first and then everybody else gets to go.
It was literally distracting. You have people being served. You have other people on the phone. You have a couple people that was asleep. You got the kid who was sitting there playing some Game Boy. But anyway, the crowd should have been better. But the cruiserweight match itself, I thought was very good. And it was very, you know, it was like 205 Live. It was very good. I liked the 450 off the top rope. The move that he did was like a seated springboard Spanish fly off the top rope. That was good. You had a lot of good matches. I liked how they interacted with each other. So for me, I thought it was very good. That was like a very good pre-show, like if it was on WrestleMania.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's move on to the next match. And I'm going to stay on you, Dana. We had Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy defeating Cesaro and Sheamus for the WWE Raw Tag Team titles. in 8 minutes and 50 seconds. So, what were your thoughts on this match?
It was basic. It was just basic. The whole, it was Wyatt being Wyatt and Hardy being Hardy, and the bar just, just there.
The bar.
The bar. We are the bar. I didn't like it. It was just boring.
See, to me, as I mentioned last week when we did the predictions, a lot of these outcomes, it was already determined because of the backlash, the card, and the fact that you knew, with this match in particular, the fact that they knew Cesaro and Sheamus were going to SmackDown, I feel like that pretty much said, oh yeah, so they're definitely not going to win this match.
No, here's the thing. And I think it's an excuse. Just because you already know how the outcome is going to be, doesn't mean you have to put on a lame match. You can put on an amazing match and still know what the outcome is and still be like, oh my God, that was amazing. I appreciated that. To me, it felt like they was just going through the emotions. And, like it was like a house show at the end of the week. Everybody's tired. They just did WrestleMania. That was a whole thing that took a year to plan. Now you got to jump up and do this thing for Saudi Arabia. And it's not even like a cute little 5-second show. The thing was like 5 freaking hours. You're there in the blazing hot sun. Everyone's miserable, tired, and sweaty. And that's what it felt like.
Well, hey, no effort. You guys mentioned
no effort.
You guys mentioned early on this show, you felt like there was no build to any match. So they said, well, why should we put in any effort into any of this? It's an easy check for Vince. That's what it was.
Well, I think also we knew. I mean, this is one that I definitely knew was going to happen. If there's any match on this card that was really predictable, this one I knew. We all saw them coming home with the titles. It just made sense for story. Forget, even if I didn't know anything about Backlash, it's all just made sense. They've been getting this big push. They did this whole big thing of them coming together when they did their special event over at the compound. So it just made sense for progression of the story and for everything else going on. There's no sense in the bar beating them because the bar beating everybody. So this is perfect. It's like, okay, they beat them, and plus the bar has already been moved off of Raw. And these guys are still on Raw. So again, it just points back, you're going to win because you're going to stay on Raw with the Raw tag team titles. Just makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so the match was a basic match. They did their finisher, which I'm still not thrilled about. I don't see anything too special. All right. So Matt grabs the head, Bray grabs the legs, and then they just drop at the same time. It's like, you're not really doing much with the legs. Like, I don't get how that's supposed to look like an impact move. It's not like when you're both twisting and throwing them up in the air. I don't know, but whatever. That's their finisher together, and that's how they get it done. But yeah, I saw this one coming. I definitely saw this. This is just going to be a predictable match, but I'm glad that they won because now we get to see what happens as their champs.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Ricky? Any thoughts on this match?
Yeah, this is again another one that I knew the outcome was going to be. When you had Cesaro and Sheamus already on SmackDown, you knew they weren't going to get the Raw tag belts. Like, that was a load of crap. So that kind of pretty much telegraphed the outcome for this. And I don't know, like Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt as a team doesn't do it for me. I mean, I have to give it some time, I guess. But for now, it's just like they just don't do it for me at all.
Well, hold on a second. Let me just make a quick comment. Since Dana said thank you, Dana and Adam, you were the ones that just couldn't wait for Matt Hardy to arrive, and for this team up. So y'all should really love this team.
I have no issues with this. I'm curious to see where it goes. It makes sense. I see why they did it, especially for Bray, because I don't know, for some reason they seem to be clueless about what to do with him, which I don't get, because I mean, he's over with the crowd. His gimmick works. So why are you struggling to do whatever they plan on doing with him? So now they put him up with Matt, and they had their feud and it had their ending. But I think it could have gone a lot longer, especially if they would have brought back the Wyatt family and then added some crazies with Matt. The same thing that they did with Miz, with the Miz Taraj, and with Sandow, how they kept giving the Miz other people to help get over. They can do that with Matt. They could have other people go crazy and then just follow him, and it'll work for them. It'll get them over, and the Lake of Reincarnation, dump a bunch of people that need new gimmicks in there, and then just have them have a crew of people. And I guess Bray is part of that, but we all in the back of our mind think that this is all a big swerve and that Bray's going to double cross him. But then if that happens, what's the end result? Another feud? They got to have something else going on. And I just don't know, but I'm excited. I'm glad to see them in there. They're both acting crazy. They both have crazy laughs, and that's obviously what the WWE wants to keep pointing out. Matt does his laugh, Bray does his laugh, and they look at each other. And they're both nuts. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. So I'm excited. I like it. It brings happiness to my life. Thank you.
They dropped the ball.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no! For me, they just dropped the ball, and that's because of Vince, and Vince likes stupid things like, oh, let them laugh for 20 minutes. There's more to the whole broken woken thing than a stupid laugh, and I'm not getting that. So that's my issue. Bray Wyatt to me is still just Bray Wyatt, but now with Matt Hardy, there's literally no difference.
Yeah. It's been the problem with Bray Wyatt is that he's been a lost soul for all these years. They just don't know what to do with him, and especially, I still remember when he was red hot, 3 years ago, I think it was, and they fed him to Cena, and that pretty much not Cena, no, 4 years ago, he was red hot, fed him to Cena, then fed him to Undertaker the following year, and then that was it. This guy's a joke. We can't take him seriously. And the thing for Bray Wyatt, for him being this charismatic leader, for him now to be the second banana in a team with Matt Hardy, he's taken a step down, especially considering that he was WWE champion just a year ago. They really have no direction with him. And I just want to make a quick note about Bray Wyatt, is that I think everybody expects Bray Wyatt to betray Matt Hardy, but it'll be the first time that he's betrayed anybody because everyone's betrayed him. It was Eric Rowan separated from the Wyatt family, if you'll recall.
Just from the split, though, I don't remember. I thought it was
what happened was like the Wyatt family was arbitrarily splitting together. They were doing the whole thing of Bray Wyatt saying I'm letting Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, roam free and do their thing. But then you had that whole, it was 2014 Survivor Series when they had, Team Cena versus The Authority, that kind of thing. And Rowan decided to join Team Cena. So that was the first betrayal there. and then you had the whole thing with Randy Orton trying to mindfuck Bray Wyatt by joining the Wyatt family. Actually, no, even before that, you had Daniel Bryan doing that. Yeah. He joined the Wyatt family, and then he split off from them. Yeah, then you had the Eric Rowan thing, and then you had the thing with Randy Orton betraying him, and then you had Luke Harper betraying, and so everyone's betrayed Bray Wyatt. He's the one loyal guy, but he's going to be the one to break it off, I think. And I hope it's not. They're not. I hope Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt aren't a tag team for too long, because I don't know how long I can tolerate it. But we'll see where they go with that.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see where they go with that. All right, so let's move on to the next match. Another match that was, I guess, of some importance to some people. We had Jeff Hardy defending the United States Championship against Jinder Mahal and winning in 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, one thing I do recall saying on the show last week was, obviously, if there was going to be a title change in this match, then there was more than likely going to be a title change in the other match, because that was an indication that the titles may be switching shows. But no, that didn't happen here. And Jeff Hardy won. So I didn't really care for this match. You know, I mean, there's pretty much a lot of matches on this card I didn't care for. But yeah, once again, to further the whole situation, because Backlash, we knew before this event that Randy Orton is facing Jeff Hardy at Backlash. So therefore, I said, oh, okay, so Jeff Hardy is definitely going to retain and defend that title against Randy Orton. And that is the storyline that they have been playing on SmackDown for the last couple of weeks, where Jeff Hardy will come out and then Randy Orton comes out, and the interrupting each other in their matches with Shelton Benjamin. So yeah, it's pretty obvious for me. But yeah, Jeff Hardy wins. It's good for Jeff, but I didn't care about this match. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, this was weird. I thought, I don't know why. I just thought they were going to do more with this match, story-wise. And it just felt like a regular match. They did their typical spots. Jeff, I guess he's just over with what he does that I just never really got crazy about, with the double leg. When he lifts up the leg, he does a love leg. Oh, to the crotch. Really? I don't see that being an Impact move, but he does what he has to do. And I feel like he's in that section of the wrestling world that he's like Hulk Hogan, you know, come out, do your spots, get out. Doesn't matter what you do, just do your spots. Everyone loves you. That's it. And it's weird because I feel like he needs to freshen up, but it's what works, you know. And he could have been Brother Nero, and I'm sure occasionally that'll happen, like he hinted on Raw before. But right now, this is it. We have 1990 Jeff Hardy doing his thing still. And that's it. Think about it. Same outfit, everything. I mean, I think the only thing he's missing is a little towel in the pocket. I don't think he has that now, right? So that's it. We're seeing him do his thing, and I didn't see him losing the belt either, because he just won it.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to lose it here. So I don't know. I thought there was going to be more to it, but hey, I thought maybe Jinder was going to do something crazy and maybe do some trash talking on the mic. No, none of that stuff, you know. So yeah, it is what it is. But it was all right. Well, it's all right match. I don't know. Some people were wowed by it. Some people said that these two have great chemistry. They loved the match that they had. I was like, yo, this is no, for real. I'm telling you, if you look at the reviews of the match, people are like, man, these guys should be doing like a whole feud, and they're not selling it. And it's true. I mean, they're not selling it. It just seemed like he just wanted a rematch, and that was it. There's no real storyline behind it.
Jeff Hardy almost died. He almost died because of Jinder Mahal botching on the spot there. I don't know if the chemistry is there. Oh goodness.
I just want to ask the question. I want to ask for Adam, the people that told you this. How much weed were they smoking that day when they told you this, that there was some chemistry?
Oh no, people just like it. I don't know. Believe me, I don't see it. I thought it was just a regular match. Come and go. There you go. But
yeah, one thing I will give credit to with SmackDown, and you know, I did notice that Jeff Hardy, they had him selling like he had some potential leg injury, and then we saw on SmackDown that Jinder's assistant interfered in that, and you know, did like a little attack of Jeff Hardy at the end. So that kind of made me think, well, they were going to try and give you the perception that, oh, Jeff is probably going to lose because he's not 100%. But obviously, that's not what happened. So yeah, it is what it is. Dana, any thoughts on this match?
Botch. That botch. Oh my, that was the greatest thing. No, just Jinder selling air. Yeah, that
was only the second best botch of the night.
And that was the second best, but good Lord, it was just a mess. And then the commentators were just confused because they didn't know what happened. It was just bad. I don't know where you get this chemistry from, unless, you know, it's like comical chemistry.
Well, it wasn't off of this match. It was definitely off of the match they had on SmackDown, and they wanted to see it. So they figured that this would be just as good, but that they would lead and build into a story. There was no story to it. It was just a rematch.
It was just, it was no story. It was just a rematch. The whole match itself was just botched. I don't know what was going on with Jinder. Honestly, I thought he might win just because that they're in Saudi Arabia, and I don't know Middle Eastern.
Well, they tried to say he
league.
wasn't that far. He was like, yeah, he's not that far
Yeah.
away from. Oh, really? I mean,
So that's what I thought. It was like, oh look, your people won, even though he's like Canadian or whatever. But yeah. So that was the only surprising part. But that whole botch thing was odd. Yeah. So yeah, it was a house show.
Yeah, those two had great chemistry, and Titus O'Neil was very graceful. And so, yeah, I don't know, and I again, this was you'll notice a trend here of matches just not mattering in the show, and this was definitely one where it, like, was an easy fast forward. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to say the thing about they said. So I was a Corey. I think Corey Graves was trying to say, like, Jinder was trying to trick. Maybe he was trying to trick Jeff Hardy, some misdirection or whatever, and that's how they're trying to explain the botch there. And it really didn't quite work that way. But
what, he can summon air?
Yeah, I don't know what. I forget what the explanation was, but it was lame. It was a good effort, but it definitely just did not work. And then I think the whole thing about Jinder, I think they said like that he has home. They said that Jinder feels he has home advantage because he's closer.
Oh yeah, that was it.
2,000 miles, whereas 2,000 miles, where Jeff is from, is 5,000 miles. And it's like, okay, that doesn't mean anything, but yeah, match sucked.
Yes, see, I would have preferred like interference by like maybe the guys in the back or something, but there was just nothing.
It was a throwaway match on a house show. That's why you didn't get interference or anything of any substance. You didn't get any proper build or nothing, because this was all just, we're gonna put on a show for all these people, all these kids, and they'll eat it up, and it doesn't have to mean anything. We don't even have to give 100% because we're making dough. We're making bank on this one way or another. So that's the way I see it. But yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm going to come back to that later, because I will have a question, as we get deeper into this. But I'm going to move right now on to the next match. We had the Bludgeon Brothers beating the Usos in a SmackDown Tag Team title match that only lasted for 5 minutes and 5 seconds. As I had predicted last week, I think we all agreed that the Bludgeon Brothers are going to win this match, because the Usos have had their time as champs.
Wait, question. Scratch the record.
What's that?
So, because I noticed you're mentioning the timing of these matches, how long. Did you think any of these matches are going to be long? Because I figured all the time was going to be used for this damn 50-man Royal Rumble. I was expecting all of these to be fairly short.
Well, yeah. The Royal Rumble definitely was the longest, but I'm doing that only because I'm looking at the listing of the times. And one thing that I did see of interest, the second longest match after the Royal Rumble was the Triple H John Cena match. So that, like Ricky said, that match is too long. I don't know why it was so long, but it is what it is.
Two giant egos.
See, I was surprised about how short all the other matches were. I thought you're getting 5 hours. So I at least thought each match would be at 10 minutes.
Well, you had to dedicate at least half an hour to their propaganda video and their commentary and all that crap. So there was
and the video of the woman crying, saying how great things are getting over in Saudi Arabia.
Good Lord.
This is like the best time for them. It's funny that they put that on, yet they don't explain the fact that they have no female wrestling matches. You know what I mean? It's like,
exactly.
How are you going to put it on and not address, hey, well, things haven't really progressed, because that's why we don't have any of our, female stars on this card. But
you know how many females there were working for WWE that were on camera? 0. You didn't even get Renee Young or Charlie or any of them.
Nope, there was no backstage segment. That was it.
They had Byron Saxton doing double duty between commentary and the studio analyst.
And that's the thing that pissed me off with this whole thing, especially when they started hyping about, things are changing. Corey Graves kept talking about things are changing. You see, we're here, and it's like, well, it's like, yeah, we see you're here, but where are the women? Just point that out. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that did watch that don't know the politics and the religious beliefs and things going on there. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? This looks kind of weird. This is like one big sausage fest. What's happening?
But you know what? You make a very good point, and I'm gonna make this comment now as well, and then you guys can continue on. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. We spoke about this topic, very only briefly about it, and then I have noticed that since then, the topic has been talked about a lot of other places as it got closer to this actual event. I mean, the whole thing to me that makes it ridiculous is because of the fact when you look at everything that WWE has done this year, it has been about, the women's revolution. We're going to have the women's Royal Rumble match. We're going to have the Battle Royal match at WrestleMania, even though that match was trash in and of itself. And then they had the women in their own Elimination Chamber match. So everything that they have been doing up until this point has been trying to highlight the women better and putting them in more competitive matchups. But then you get to this event and it's like, just ignore all of that. That's what I don't like, because it says we're going to do this because it's about the money. It's not about having the women on the card at all. And that to me is a serious issue right there. But again, you go ahead. I just wanted to make that point.
Who's going?
What's that?
So this was the Bludgeon Brothers match.
The Bludgeon Brothers. So did you what did you think of the match? Did you enjoy it or what?
Fast forward.
There you go. But you saw this coming. You know what I mean? It's it's the new kids on the block with the belts. You just don't see it flipping. Like, why would you do that? Why would you squash something that just started? It just doesn't make sense, especially with the Usos. Now, if they would have thrown in a new tag team versus the Bludgeons, and it's like, hey, anything goes. If we would have saw Authors of Pain come out and do something, and I'm not on that match because that's a SmackDown, but on Raw, do something. I don't know. Just this one was very predictable.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing that they will have. I mean, I don't know what other matches they're going to have at Backlash yet. We'll know after SmackDown on Tuesday, whatever other matches they add, unless they add stuff at the last minute. But yeah, still no Sanity. So, very well Sanity could get involved on SmackDown. Whatever they decide, they actually want this team to appear. But I will say this, the fact that the Bludgeon Brothers won, great. You have Sheamus and Cesaro, who are also now on SmackDown. And I actually had a match today. I did a little simulation of a couple matches, this match where I put Sheamus and Cesaro against the Bludgeon Brothers, and that was a back and forth matchup. And of course, the Bludgeon Brothers lost. So we'll see what happens. But it was predictable. And as I said, the Usos, they've been champs for a long time. Give these guys a break, and with all of the card that they have, the tag division on SmackDown now, it is highly competitive and highly stacked. So other people got to get opportunities. So I'm all for that. Any other thoughts on this match before we move on to the next?
No.
Dana would like to talk.
Uh-oh.
No one asked Dana.
Hey, I said any other thoughts on this match before we move on to the next?
You're treating me like Saudi Arabia right now.
Whoa.
That's not possible. That's not possible.
It was a zucchini match because it was squash. Hey, corny joke of the night. No, zucchini, squash match. Okay, yeah, no, it was bad.
Yeah, I agree. It was bad.
It was throwaway, and then it just didn't matter, and it didn't matter to any of the wrestlers because, it was just silly. And they botched again the tag thing. They botched that match.
The tag thing.
Yeah. Remember, Sheamus forgot he was tagged in.
Yeah.
That was another botch too. So Rowan is like, what was it? I think somebody. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
Two separate matches there because you just mentioned Sheamus and then you mentioned Rowan, and they were.
I'm sorry, not Sheamus. See, everything blends together. Whereas the bar.
Is that what Harper or Harper or Rowan?
Yeah. That thing was a little botchy too. I just didn't like it. And it was just weird because remember right before the match last week or so, they built up that whole thing with Naomi. And then she just wasn't there.
Saving the Usos, yeah. And then she wasn't there to save.
And then she just wasn't there. It was like, oh, she doesn't exist. What's the Naomi? Awful.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And then Rowan tagged himself in. I didn't like that. And then got slapped by Harper. That was just confusing. Boo the whole match.
It's okay because none of it's canon. None of it matters.
Yeah, that's what I thought. None of it. Yeah, throw the whole thing away.
We could just pretend like it didn't happen.
It doesn't exist.
And this is another general point I wanted to make about the show is that on top of it being such a grueling schedule, all the flying that they've had to do, because you got to keep in mind that for some of these guys were in the United States and they flew to South Africa, then they had to fly back to the United States, then they got to fly back in for the Middle East. It's like terrible.
See, and I will just say, I'll make a quick comment. I don't want to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
This is exactly why I understand the people who come in part-time who do not want to sign long-term contracts with WWE because the schedule is absolutely ridiculous.
It's the circus.
Yeah. I mean, it's
a circus life.
But even the circus has a more sensible schedule than that. Yeah. Like the circus stays in one spot for like a month before they move on to the next spot. WWE moves around like a housefly. Like they can't.
Why you gotta bring that up? Why you gotta bring it up? You heard what happened. I told you what happened. For those who don't know, I had a fly around me, and then I had my cup of coffee because that's what keeps me up. And then all of a sudden, I noticed the fly's gone. I thought it's because I opened up the office door. I'm like, yeah. So I'm doing my thing, and I go to zip up. Boop! What bumps into my lip? I look down the light. Oh, there's my little buddy. He died in my coffee.
Too much.
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
But the point I was going to make real fast is just that on top of everyone being so tired from the schedule, you have to understand that these wrestlers thrive off the energy of the crowd. And when most of the crowd is too far back to even hear them, you're not going to have that energy. You just have a bunch of people in the VIPs who are looking on in disapproval if they're even looking on. It's just like you're not gonna be amped up for it. I mean, even you can even go to those bingo halls that Miz references and get more energy out of the fans there than what they got over there in Jeddah. That's just the way I see it.
Absolutely. And since you mentioned the Miz, let's move on to the match that he was involved in. See, you like that segue, right? Yeah. See, I'm getting good at this.
You're getting real good.
We had the Miz square off against Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe for the Intercontinental title in a ladder match that lasted 14 minutes and 33 seconds. Now, Seth Rollins, the winner. I believe, this is a match that I wanted to watch, but I was a little worn out after I got through some of these matches, and I did skip over some matches. So maybe I will go back and see it. This is a match where I just looked at the result and I just saw it said, "Oh, Finn Balor lost." I said, "Okay." So I don't know what they're doing with Finn Balor. I would assume that the logical choice now is going to be to have Finn Balor and Seth Rollins feud over that IC title, unless, of course, they decide that Jinder Mahal is who they want Seth Rollins to feud with. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, once again, I'm fine with Seth Rollins being champion, even though I think that belt is a downgrade for him, especially. But it is what it is, But yeah, as for the result, I'm totally fine with it. What did you guys think of the match for those of you that did see it? And Dana, how about you go first?
Yay. Oh, yay. I can go first now. I feel like I'm in America again. Sorry. This was the only match that I feel that the government allowed them to cheer for. And because of that, they had, the excitement and it fueled them. And, they put on a pretty decent match compared for, that it was a house show. I liked it. And even though that, Seth Rollins won and, Finn Balor is just going to the wayside, I thought it was pretty good. They had the high spots. There was a little funness that went around. I thought it was really good. And Joe, it's wonderful to see Joe doing ladder matches. He's just really great overall. So I liked him and him being able to shine in that point. But I really didn't expect any type of, title change. But, I thought it was pretty decent and we got some blood. So I'm good.
Sounds good. All right, how about you, Adam?
It was good. It was a good match. That's what I'm saying. Like they went all out with the ladder, and then even with when Joe set up the ladder at the corner, so that way he can go and dump somebody on it. But obviously it fell, and then you heard the crowd. They're like, "Oh, it fell." And then he just like improv. He picked up. I forgot who it was. It was Finn. He picked up Finn and just slammed him on the ladder. It was like, there you go. Well, it's down. And then he fell off, and then he picked up the ladder and he put it back up, and he did what he had to do with it. And it was fun, especially the ending to see Rollins do the springboard off the rope onto the ladder. I felt like we've seen that before, but it's been a while. I don't know why. I want to say Shelton Benjamin, because remember, Shelton used to be the master at ladder matches. People don't really talk about that. Mm-hmm. But Shelton Benjamin, man, he was the first to do that run up. Do you remember when they set up the ladder? Then he set up another ladder down, and he went running up the ladder and did like a clothesline or something. I mean, Shelton used to go all out. When there was a ladder match, I crossed my fingers that Shelton Benjamin was going to be in that damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, he was in the Rumble. That was cool. But yeah, no, besides that, it was a good match. Joe and everybody. I mean, that ending was like, whatever. And again, some people really thought that he was going to lose the belt. They're like, oh, this will be the time they give it to Finn, and it's going to be a ladder. I'm like, I don't know where you see that, because again, this is somebody who just got the belt.
Yeah.
They thought what the Miz was going to win it and go back with the SmackDown with the belt. They can't do that because they already had Jeff over there. That title belt is equivalent to what Jeff has, so can't do it. U.S. title and all that stuff, that's all the same. It's all make card stuff. You have to have that belt somewhere. So. No, I didn't see that happening. So,
absolutely. All right, Ricky. Your thoughts on this match?
So this is one that I need to go back and watch, because I was in the same boat as you, where, like, if this show was going to be half as long as it would be, I would have sat down and watched this match in its entirety, knowing that Seth Rollins was probably going to retain, but I still was interested in the 4 participants and what they would do. But I was really, I know how long a Royal Rumble can be when it's just 30 men. When you get 50, I really wanted to save my energy for that. Plus, it was late and it was a long day at work, so I was really just more about getting to the meat of the show. But I did check I did catch the very end of it, and I don't know if you caught that. The reason why there was blood was because Seth Rollins did a botch where when he grabbed the Intercontinental belt, it slapped down, and it cracked. It hit him right in the eye, and it busted him open.
Wow.
See, I'm starting to wonder if, because it was announced so shortly, that they didn't have any chances to rehearse, and that's why this was so full of botches.
Mm-hmm.
This was just it was like basic amateur botches. It just didn't make any sense.
Hey, well, Vince said it's all about the money. He said, "Hey, listen, if they get hurt a little bit, it doesn't make a difference. I want that money." So
you gotta pay those bills. I don't know. It's just terrible.
I agree. So I do have to go back and watch that also. So you and we definitely need to see it, but we'll see what happens. So let's move on to the next match. And I did see this match. Obviously. AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura, which ended in a double countout, and the match lasted for 14 minutes and 25 seconds. Now, I will say, in regards to this match, because Backlash is next weekend, it's pretty obvious that this is probably going to have another match, and sure enough, they announced that they are going to have another match at Backlash. So this outcome, totally fine with that, because I still am holding on to the thought that if they do give Nakamura the belt, maybe that will happen at Backlash, because that will be the 1-year anniversary since he made his pay-per-view debut was at Backlash. But we'll see what they do with that. I'm just curious to see what the direction is. I love Nakamura as a heel. I love the new theme music. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I thought the match was fine, but the double count out, I said, all right, yeah. Obviously, this is not over. So
it's been a while since I've seen a double countout like this. Especially, I was like, "Whoa!" This right here. This is what I brought up early on, where I was shocked. I'm like, "Wow, this is a house show outcome." I mean, you don't pull this type of shit anymore on a big show. I mean, some of the crowd was still booing, but then remember they kept fighting afterwards. But still, they were like, we wanted to see something. I mean, some kind of result, and a double count out. What the?
Because the show didn't mean anything, so they didn't want
That
to. And this is a big money feud where, they can't just throw away a significant result at a throwaway show. This is a throwaway show. Let's face it. Like, apart from the big budget that it got, it's like a throwaway show. You know, you don't waste a definitive result on that. So I totally agreed with having AJ retain via the double count out. You know, I thought disqualification might have been in order with Shinsuke Nakamura going right to the
that's what I thought. I thought if anything, it would have been something like that. But man, a double, that's what I'm saying. We've seen DQs. So, don't get me wrong. People are like, what do you mean? But we never see a double count out. It's been a long time. We see that all the time hinted, when a guy's knocked out. 8, 9, and then he goes rolling it. Not this time. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. This made more sense because even if it's a disqualification, now you're talking about back-to-back losses for Nakamura, and unless you're giving him Roman Reigns type logic in getting these title matches, it wouldn't make sense for him to get one at Backlash. But because there was no winner, they gotta really settle the score at Backlash, and I think Nakamura should win it there. But we can go into that to the prediction show next time. But this match, I watched it in its entirety. I did not fast forward to it because I was very interested to see how they would perform, and I thought it was okay. They didn't knock our socks off, and because we see that this match is happening at Backlash, now we see why. It's the same thing as the NFL in the preseason. You don't show your full playbook in the preseason. You wait until the playoffs when it matters. And this was the preseason. Let's face it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. All right, Dana. So, what are your thoughts on the match?
I thought that it was better than a Mania. Sorry, I thought it was a little bit better than Mania. So I was really invested in it, and I thought the double count out worked perfectly because one, this is a throwaway match, right? So what better way than to throw away a match than to have a double count out? It doesn't matter. No one won, and then that way they can continue the feud when we get Backlash. And I don't see this feud ending until SummerSlam. So
that's possible.
I'm actually good with the whole thing. I thought that the match itself was perfectly fine. We had fireworks. We had Shinsuke's rap Japanese.
What was that all about? When that guy, I was like, I don't know if I like it or if I don't know. It's just something.
I love it.
Do you love it? It made you happy?
It made me happy.
I liked it. I liked it the very first time I heard it. I was like, oh shit, this is great. This gives him, this gives it an edge. It prevents the fans from singing along, which is a total babyface thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. What I don't like is that the rap isn't longer. It loops after, I think, a minute and a half.
Right.
And I know that's a CFO thing to loop too quickly. But
you know what? It makes me wonder when I heard it. I was like, you know what? Just like they have multiple versions. So like here we got 4 different songs. Which one do you want? And they went with the violin one. And then when they turned them heel, I was like, well, we got, remember the second choice that you really liked. You want to use that one with the guy rapping? Let's do it. Because like, all right, but it was all right. I don't know. I gotta hear it a few more times.
I thought it was really funny that remember Bobby Roode was supposed to have that theme song and Shinsuke was supposed to have Bobby's. So
no.
Yeah, that's what Bobby Roode said. He said that he was supposed to have Shinsuke's.
No, I know he said that he wasn't supposed to have the one that he had, that it was for someone else, but then that person passed on it.
Right, and that was Shinsuke.
How is Glorious gonna work with Shinsuke?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. Like I know I read that. I read that on the dirt sheets. I don't believe it at all.
I think he was just trolling and he was just saying, "Oh, I was supposed to have that." I mean, he could have said anything. He could have said that he was gonna have Triple H as a game, and there was a whole.
Really?
Well, that's the thing is that Owen Hart was actually originally going to get the game gimmick, if you'll remember, but Triple H got it instead.
That would have been a mess.
That's an older thing.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Owen Hart was going to be the game, and then but ended up being Triple H. But
so bad. Like rest in peace, but my God, no.
I don't know. Maybe it could have worked out for Owen. You know, it could.
No, Owen's Owen. At the end of the day, Owen is Owen. So no, I don't see it working.
I don't know. Owen was very talented. He could have made it work. I mean, I don't think he would have been as good a villain as Triple H ended up being. No. But getting back on topic here, actually, even the Bobby Roode thing wasn't even on topic. We were talking about Nakamura and his theme and all that stuff. I like the theme, but I do think that it loops too quickly. They really need to give him like a full 3-4 minute rap thing that ends there. But no, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And it kind of reminds me of the whole, he's battling AJ. And AJ has the DMX one. It's like the battle of the raps.
That's not DMX.
And I'm still upset that DMX didn't show up at WrestleMania. I'm still pissed by that. Like out of all of these guys, you could have definitely got him DMX to show up.
You know what's funny that you mentioned DMX is because is before Coach came back, before he came back to WWE, he interviewed AJ Styles while he was working with ESPN. And he asked AJ Styles, like, what do you think of DMX doing your theme? And I'm thinking, like, Coach, that's not actually DMX. Why are you telling him that that's DMX? I forget what AJ's response was. He didn't really like. He's like, oh, that's cool, or something like, or whatever. But
wait, that's not DMX. That is DMX.
That's not DMX.
That's
not DMX.
That is not DMX.
You guys are deaf. It's not DMX.
No, it's not. It's called They Don't Want No Sunshine by DMX.
Yeah,
but that's not the song.
That's not it. Nah.
I don't know. Phenomenal Sunshine.
They don't want none. It's not DMX.
Yeah, that's not DMX.
No, I'm telling you, it's DMX. Fight me. It sounds like DMX.
What the French toast?
Yeah.
Let's move on. Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's move on. We got three more matches to discuss.
No, I'm serious. Look. No,
I'm sorry, Dana. You're wrong. You're wrong.
No,
it's not DMX.
Listen. You feel free to do a Google search, and what I see, the Google search, it says CFO. So that you can do a Google search and check that information, but we got to move on to the next matches. Okay, we had The Undertaker defeating Rusev in a casket match that lasted for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. The only thing I'm going to say about this match is I am very surprised that this match lasted longer than Undertaker's match at WrestleMania. So that's all I have to say about it. But yeah, it was very predictable. I already knew Undertaker was going to win this, so no surprises there. Dana, any thoughts on this match?
Which one was it? See, that's how forgettable it was. I legit just forgot which match it was. The Undertaker one. No, oh God, why won't they let this man just retire and go on the beach and be happy? He has bad hips. Leave him alone. I'm happy that, he lived.
I think it's a combination. He's one of the few that he's got money. He doesn't, it's not really so much about him doing. He's got other business ventures outside of wrestling, but man, it's just such an easy payday. Think about it. It's like, all right, am I doing these big? No, it's not going to be a big money match. I mean, it'll be big money, but it's not going to be a big to do. You're not going to have to come in every week and promote it. You just got to do this, 10 minutes? Come on now.
I'm getting flashbacks of Andre. Remember when Andre was really sick and they kept dragging him out there? And that's what's going to happen with Undertaker. He's going to be 60 years old doing a in peace and then keep taking 20 minutes just to get to the ring. I'm sick of it. Now he's botching because he almost broke Aiden English's neck.
I don't know about that. That's still out for debate.
No.
I watch every time he does a tombstone. I watch, and the thing is that he's so tall, and so it works out well when he goes down. That's why when a short person does it, it's pretty much going to be boxed because you have to have the body so high up. And he knows, which is why when he flips, he makes sure that his head, his nose and stuff is in the crotch area. That's how he knows he has to go. No, bro, that's how he knows he has it up high.
A crotch.
If his head is completely over the crotch and there's space between the crotch and his chin, the guy is hanging too low. You think it's a joke, but that's it. That's how he has to measure it.
He's being accurate. It's scientifically, you got to get the crotch
That's
in
it.
there. No.
He's got to get it up high. That's how he knows he's holding him high enough, because the last thing he wants is to drop him down and hear a crunch and be like, "Oh shit."
He draws Aiden English.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not laughing at the your description of the actual move. It's the visual when you talk about the guy's head going into the crotch.
Oh.
This is not inappropriate.
I mean, I know people don't want to talk about it because you're like, "Oh, he's Tombstone," but just think about it. He's got the guy north to south. You know what I mean? It's like he flipped him upside down. You know, the head is down there. It's just the position.
Yeah.
You know, it's a devastating move. You know, because if you think about if this was a street fight. Okay, you're in a street fight, and you watching a street fight, and you see another man grab a guy, flip him 180, and then just drop him on his head. That's devastating.
Well, yeah, it is devastating in terms of the move, but it's also devastating because I'm pretty sure no guy wants to be that close to another guy's junk either.
Well, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of guys who want to be that close. Come on now. Don't let me pull out my Finn Balor is for everyone shirt.
And that's another thing is that when going into that match, I was like, I'll bet you Finn Balor does not wear the rainbow thing, and he didn't wear it. And it's a good thing he didn't, because they would have killed him right then and there. They have homophobic laws over there. You know, punishable by death. So.
And he released a statement about that as well, because people asked him about why he didn't have that attire on, and he gave
a PR statement saying, you know, Finn Balor is for everyone, and we don't need the shirt for everyone to be included.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't gonna wear it forever. You know what I mean? Now if he comes back on Raw wearing it, then we're like, all right, there you go.
I'm surprised he didn't wear it for like June. That's what I was surprised about. They should have just had him wear it in June.
What I was surprised, I thought he was gonna give. If you're giving them all out everything, Undertaker, casket matches, cage match, then give them the Demon. You know what I mean? I thought maybe he would come out as a demon to the whole spectacle with the smoke and stuff.
Well, you know what?
Oh, no, I don't think they can do Demon.
Yeah.
Gone.
Vince is tired. Vince is tired of Finn Balor, and that Demon thing. No, because then if you have the Demon lose, then that's it. That character is instantly now doesn't mean anything, because anytime he wears a Demon thing, that means he's gonna definitely.
You know what? I always felt they could have went with that Demon. They could have went with like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, where he doesn't realize when he's the Demon what happens. Yeah. You know, it's like it just happens and he does it, and whether he wins or loses, and then let's say he wins a belt as a Demon, and Raw they show him and he has the belt, and he was like, you know, congratulations on you win. It's like, I didn't even know I won this. I had to watch a replay. I don't remember this. You know, I mean, that would have been crazy. Maybe they'll do that when they tie him up with Matt Hardy.
Yeah, and you know why they would never do that, Adam? Because they don't have good writers. Because what you just said, that's a great idea.
Because Vince is still alive. That's why.
I'm sure, because that's the thing. If there's one thing, and I know they had said this, and supposedly, because I mean we don't really know, that Vince is still amazed that the whole thing is working with Matt. Like he just can't believe like that's even over. He doesn't see it.
Because there's nothing he created.
You know, well, that's it. He didn't create it, and he just thinks that it's so silly and so crazy, which is why he had, you know, Michael Cole before that, the final deletion, say the comment is like, oh, well, we don't know what to expect, you know, so whatever. You know what I mean? Not hyping it up. How dare you do that? You know, especially on your product. You would think you hype everything, you know, on your product. You don't just toss it under the bus. Say, hey, if you want to go watch something else, go ahead. If not, watch this shit. You know, that was horrible. But just embrace that and say, wow, that worked. Okay, so let's see, what other little kooky things can we do like that could work? Well, you already have a guy who dresses up as a demon with dreads and all the stuff during certain matches. Well, have something with that. He says that's his demon, that's his alter ego. Go all out with the alter ego. Have him go crazy. And it's like every time it happens where he takes a bad bump or something and he just like lays out in the ring, They're like, what the hell? And then they get the stretcher and they wheel him out. And then they say, hey, he's going to be in a match next week. He comes back as a demon. Maybe he wins, whatever. Then he leaves. Then the next week he comes back. Just remember, every time you know that the stretcher comes out for him, that means that he's lost his mind.
That's funny.
That would be hilarious, because think about it. That's what people were waiting for with Matt Hardy when he showed up, because they were like, oh, he's going to take an ass whooping and become broken, because that's what happened when he was in Impact. So every time he would take a stiff shot, they're like, oh, this is it. Delete. When he's holding his head, getting up, like he was going to go, yes, and snap, but they didn't do that here. Here, it's like he just started doing delete thing and like got fed up type of thing. But in Impact, he got hurt and he was out for a while. When he came back, he had lost his fucking mind. So I think that's the same thing. That's something they could have did with Finn, but you know what? Whatever. It's not happening. But
the thing with Finn, you have to remember that Vince McMahon's a very petty man that holds grudges. And the last time that Finn Balor had the body paint, the demon gimmick, I believe, was when he won the Universal title at SummerSlam and got injured that same match and was out. And he hasn't had the gimmick ever since. So,
well, Vince also doesn't like little people. That's just his thing.
Oh, whoa, ooh.
No, but it's true. Vince, he's openly said it. He was like, he always felt that WWE was special because it was land of the giants. It was the over the top that people can tune in and see massive humans battling out, like Andre, Hogan, Undertaker, Big John Studd. These are huge men. Hillbilly Jim. That's a basic gimmick, but he was a massive man, walking around doing it. He loves big guys. He loves big guys. Look at Elias. We saw Elias do almost absolutely nothing pretty much in NXT, and he lost a loser leaves match, and then he shows up on Raw and he gets all these segments. Even if he's not winning on them, he's getting a lot of TV time. He's been put in a lot of big matches. So it's working, and he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So Big Cass, there's another one. Come on now. If he was a normal sized guy, he would not be on that stage because the guy can't shoot a promo for his life. But he's got the height. He's 7 feet tall and the whole thing. And that's it. You could work with that. There's certain gifts that you have, and that's it. And you're just lucky. I remember Brock gave an interview. I think it was during UFC. It was during a promo. It was a post-match. And he says, he has to thank God every time he's doing anything when he wakes up, because he's never been good at school, and what he has is just whatever God gave him. And God gave him this massive body. He's like, I'm just huge, and that's all. That's God's work. That's not me. I didn't do much with it. I'm just, I work out, but I'm 6'5". I have this mass on me. And that's just from God. And I think that's the thing. It's like, if you're just a big dude, there's a good chance, 85 to 90% chance you could become a pro wrestler. Even if you don't have any other skills, they will build you up. They will work with you. They will groom you. But if you're a little guy or a medium-sized guy, average guy, you're going to have to work your ass off. You're going to have to actually learn moves. You're going to have to learn how to shoot promos. You're going to have to learn all this other shit that they show in those behind-the-scenes stuff. But that does not apply to big men. So that's why it's like, it sucks that Finn Balor is where he is in his spot. Even when he won that Universal title, I didn't see him holding it long. I could have swore Brock was gonna come and smash him for it.
Oh yeah, Brock is Vince McMahon's wet dream. That's his idea of what a wrestler should be.
So hold on.
We can get into that later. But I just wanted to say real fast that I fast forward again through Undertaker beating Rusev, because we all knew that Rusev was not going to win that match. So, what are you gonna say, Rich?
Oh no, I was gonna say, so because you killed it now, because I was gonna say let's just move to the Brock Lesnar match. But does anybody have anything else they want to say about Undertaker?
Let him retire and rest in peace.
There you go. Well, that won't happen, but maybe one day.
And they really did miss a great opportunity of having Chris Jericho run out the ring and do a stint. I thought this was my match,
Well,
here's the thing: that Undertaker was not retired after all by the man that we're going to discuss next.
So let's go ahead. Now, I definitely we got to say something on this. Brock Lesnar defending the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns and beating Reigns in a steel cage match that lasted for 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, when I saw this match and when I saw the finish of the match, I couldn't help but laugh because this should have been the match that was, in my opinion, just solidified. If Reigns wasn't going to win, okay, that's it. Reigns isn't the guy. Let's move on to another guy. But because of how they ended the match, now you have this whole thing where Vince is going to try to get people to be sympathetic towards Reigns because it's a ridiculous way for it to end. You know, you deliver the spear and Reigns clearly touches the floor before Lesnar does because Lesnar's still on top of the cage. So when I saw that, I laughed, but I was like, come on now, man, this is supposed to be it for Reigns. So now I look forward to seeing how they explain now. Oh yeah, well, I never lost. Well, I was on the cage, so I hit the floor first. I don't know how they're going to explain it, but it's just ridiculous.
I gotta say though, I was impressed with that match, with that outcome, because think about it. There's one thing that everybody knew was going to come from this was that Roman Reigns was going to win.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody said, they were like, this is it. There's 100%. They swerved this with WrestleMania because the whole thing, but they weren't going to swerve us here. Remember, there was all the talk. Oh, it's seen that he's definitely going to win because he's going to get the reaction and this and this and that. And it's like, a lot of people, and the only thing is, leading up to it, when I kept seeing all these results, I was like, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. Dershi said, definitely going to. I'm like, it's not going to happen. Not gonna happen. Too many people certain. There's no way. They're gonna swerve us, especially now that we know that he has that special deal. You know, so it's like, all right, he has a special open deal contract where he can just come in for certain events, and they'll let him have the belt. They'll hold that damn belt on him. I was like, I don't know, but I don't know how they were gonna do it. And that ending, it was so. I mean, that could have went wrong real quick, injury wise. You know. Think about it. He took a spear. They hit the spot. They hit the cage side. It falls down. If Brock didn't go flat back, or if he went too far, he could have landed on his neck. You know, he tucked his head. You see, the whole time he had his head tucked because he knew that could have went wrong real quick. Mm-hmm. You know, think about it. Even if it was him throwing himself back, which some of it was, you still have a 200-something pound man who's going to fall on top of you.
And Reigns himself planted down.
It could have went wrong for Roman Reigns also. You know what I mean? There's a lot of room for error in that finish that I had to give them credit for even taking chances with that. I'm surprised Brock even agreed to that. You know, I'm sure if there was people from the UFC, whatever, I don't know if he has a contract, but if he did, and he said, oh, by the way, we're having this ending where he's going to fly through this cage and he's going to do a flat back splash outside on the mat. Are you kidding me? The man could get hurt. No, but he did it, you know, and it was creative. It was definitely creative.
Well, with all due respect to that last comment, you said you're surprised that Brock agreed to this. Brock doesn't do nothing for almost all of the year. He's there every now and again defending a title. He has all this time off, so damn right he should do something.
He did really. I'm just saying this was definitely edgy for that, and I'm glad he didn't get hurt and that Roman didn't get hurt. But man, that was a swerve. Because I'm sure a lot of people watching this, and damn, this is why I tell people when I see these, and you've seen this, where people are like, oh, the Vegas bookings and the Vegas scoreboards and people, who's betting on fucking pro wrestling? Who's doing that?
Crazy
shit?
People.
You must be crazy because you know this shit is fixed. You know there are people with the answers to what's happening, but whatever. And I'm sure people just up in arms because I know people in my office when they're like, all right, so is it over if Roman won? How did he win? I'm like, he didn't win. They're like, you're full of shit. I was like, they didn't win. He did not win. They went through the cage and Brock touched first, and that's it. Now, this was the only major thing to come out of this whole thing. This whole show. This was the only major thing. Think about it. This is the topic. What happens now? No more rematches for Roman. That's it. He's done.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that.
Brock is not booked for anything else. So, what's going to happen? We know Roman has the match with Joe at Backlash, and they even teased that. They even showed that. What's that noise?
Dana. All right, continue.
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
Dana's getting screamed on or something. But oh man, see now I just lost track. Oh, when they had Joe watching in the back on the monitor, because then if Roman wins, his match at Backlash becomes a title match.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, everything is pointing to it. And then a part of me thought, damn, during this match, Joey's gonna come out and help Roman win, and that's how they're gonna do it. He's gonna help Roman win. They're gonna do something. Maybe he's gonna slam the door in his face when he tries to get out, or do something like that. That did happen, but it was Paul Heyman that did it. You know, so I'm like, oh, okay. So Paul Heyman did it, and then this shit happens. And I'm like, oh man. And once that happened, I just saw an image of like Bruno pop up, like, boom, they tried to take my record away. Because now it's like he's not gonna. They're just gonna do it again with Brock. Brock is just gonna be like this multi-year champ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and think about it. And the big discussion that I just saw online in forums, they're like, if not Roman, who's the one? I mean, is it really Bobby?
Braun.
Do we see it as Bobby? No, we could say Braun, but Braun had the shot and they didn't do it. You know, and they did. I heard the reason why they're not doing it is just because he's green and backstage politics. You know, people just feel that he's just not ready. You know,
Well, Bobby sure doesn't deserve it. So
Bobby does.
Braun,
No, Bobby does deserve it on
No.
multiple levels. Multiple.
I don't like
Don't
him, so no. I don't like him, so no.
Shit, come
Bobby
on.
Lashley. Bobby Lashley.
I think you give Bobby enough. If you build up Bobby enough time, he could be a deserving guy. For
You
that
haven't
spot.
heard him. Bobby knows how to shoot a promo now. He's learned in all these years in Impact. So give him time.
Okay, then not right away. Then give him a year.
No, you don't give it to him right away. You give them time to get him some big wins, because right now he's mid card. You give him some big wins and work him way into that main event picture. You have him win it then.
So I just want to make a comment because I don't want to go too off topic, but I just want to say this: you guys are speculating that you don't know who the person is. I think it's very obvious. Well, in my mind, I think I know who the person is. And Vince knows who that person is because he named this person the chosen one when he brought him to WWE the first time.
Triple H?
Oh no.
No, Scottish Triple
Drew
H.
McIntyre.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre.
No.
The problem is that Drew's got a program already.
No,
he's got a program already, and he needs time to separate from that program.
And not only that, he's in a different story altogether because they're basically doing the whole Shawn Michaels Diesel story with him and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
The muscle, or like what they did when they had Dolph Ziggler and Big E. Remember, Big E was the silent big muscle guy, and that's what happened here. It's the same thing.
Except Dolph Ziggler is a worse version of Shawn Michaels, and Drew McIntyre is a better version of Diesel. But hey.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see. Yeah, that could definitely fly. I could see that happening, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Oh yeah, not now.
Nope. Yeah. I see Bobby definitely doing it for a few reasons.
Right now, the guy that's closest should be Braun Strowman. He should be the closest to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Braun Strowman here momentarily, but I agree. Braun Strowman, because again, you even with that feud with Brock Lesnar, like when they had the triple threat match with Kane, one of the dumbest ideas. Yeah, Braun Strowman made the comment, "Hey, you didn't pin me. You didn't pin me. He didn't pin him." So, yeah. Well, I don't know what they're doing. We'll see.
Mention something about this steel cage match.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious how the ending was botched, as so many botches have happened throughout the night. And
it's a tricky spot, though. It's a tricky spot.
And them trying to explain it like the part that killed me was Saxton's like, Lesnar's feet touch first. Well, let's show the replay and
no, it's
and
not.
Then it went quiet for a bit, and then Corey Graves like, well, maybe Lesnar's elbow counts as 2 feet for these. Like Corey Graves trying to do damage control was the most hilarious thing. It's like Roman Reigns very clearly his feet touched first.
Yep.
But I think the way they were selling it was who is the body part now. They supposedly this was different for some reason. Yeah, because definitely the feet, they weren't going based off of the feet then. They were going based off of the body.
But they've never done it like that before because people have touched the mat outside with their hands and they didn't count it because it wasn't their feet. Yeah. And that's the thing with WWE, and I've said this in previous podcasts. They changed the rules to accommodate whatever result they want.
Exactly.
Yeah, the number one broken rule, and we'll talk about this in the Rumble. It didn't happen in this one, but if someone gets eliminated, how the hell do they have the right to get back in, throw somebody out, and how does that count? You have been eliminated. Whatever you do it's not supposed to count.
Because it's no disqualification. So anything goes.
Anything goes.
Anything goes.
Jump right back in. But like, you know what? I'm not out. Because I said so.
That's why the Bray Wyatt should have won every Royal Rumble as with the Wyatt family, because you could throw Harper and Rowan and Strowman over the ring and they'll just say, well, fuck you. We're coming back in anyway and we're going to help Bray win this thing. But they don't follow it like that. Nothing makes sense. It drives you nuts trying to figure out the logic behind these things. So, but
look, I had issue. Okay. See, I think if you look at the video and look in slow motion, to me, none of them won. Because you have Roman spearing Brock. And so he goes directly on his back, right? Mm-hmm. And Roman, basically, he does this dive and then he curls. And his feet, it's only like the side of the foot that touches the floor. So technically, wouldn't that be a double non-win?
No, because even if, doesn't matter whether it's the tiptoe, the side of the foot, the heel, if both feet are touching the ground at any moment, that's it. That's contact. That's
then
right
Brock
there.
would have won, because here's why Brock would have won first then. Because he was laying at the bottom. So all of the impact he gets first, which means his feet would touch the ground first.
I think that was their plan. They did not. That was the plan, I think. The plan was, all right, we think logically this makes sense. If he basically comes and just like push, I don't think he was really going for the. If he just pushes him, Brock can hit through and then he will fall. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe Roman wasn't supposed to go with him.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe it was supposed to be like he spears him,
tackle.
Brock, like a tackle, but then Brock goes flying out, and then next you know, Roman's standing in the ring looking like, I don't believe this.
Also, I think the cage didn't break all the way, which is why it ended up on like that U shape where Brock ended up hanging halfway off, where his legs were technically somewhat on the apron. So that could have also been another issue.
Either way, it's a tricky.
Well, Brock was on a downward slope with his head closer to the floor and his feet up. It'd been different, like you said. Like if it was just Brock on the outside, he could have just rolled out of the wall and touched the mat, and then he wins. But it landed awkwardly where Roman Reigns went over to his side and he touched the feet first. I was like, oh wow. Okay, that's strange, but it
wasn't like the bottom of the foot. It was the side of the foot.
It's still the foot, though. It doesn't matter.
It can be any foot, yeah.
Any part of the foot. If both of them are touching, then that counts. The same way with the Royal Rumble. If you try to, you ever try to, they skin the cat. That whole thing that they have Dolph Ziggler do 1,000,000 times now, and every battle royal thing. Mm-hmm. He only has 1 foot touch because it has to be 2 feet touching in order for it to count as elimination. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the cage match, both feet have to touch the floor. But if they both tiptoes are touching, that's it. That counts it right there. So
so
they
here's
just
how
messed
he
that
won.
up entirely.
No, here's how he actually technically won. If you look at the video in slow motion, when he gets speared, Brock's, I think, either left leg, it's bent. So when it's bent, that means the foot touches first. So then, boom, that's how he won.
His feet never touched the floor.
His leg was bent. So when he went flying, technically, the foot touches first.
No. Yeah. Sorry. You're 0 for 2. You're 0 for 2 tonight. You're 0 for 1 with DMX. Whoa. You're 0 for 2 with this.
It is DMX. I don't care. It's DMX. It's a DMX cover band. It's DMX. The man's barking in it. It's DMX.
He doesn't say what during the song. So it's
no, it's not DMX. So I will say this. We'll revisit this particular discussion later, but I don't think that this is it for Roman Reigns getting another shot at Brock Lesnar. I mean, because the way they did it. It's like now you kind of understand where the character is coming from. we'll see how they handle it on Raw, but it's not over yet. I'm sure of that. All right, so let's move on to the final match, which of course was the actual Royal Rumble itself. 50 men competing, and we had Braun Strowman winning by eliminating Big Cass for 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 20 seconds. So I will say this: Daniel Bryan, the first person in there, and lasted all to the damn near to the end of it. That was good to see, but obviously he gets eliminated by Big Cass because in storyline, Big Cass and Daniel Bryan have a feud going on now. So it made sense for that to happen. I figured that was going to happen when I saw Big Cass come out there towards the end. I'm like, okay, so this is who's going to eliminate Daniel Bryan, and that's what happened. Braun Strowman winning is great, even though we have said on multiple occasions that this pay-per-view didn't really matter. There's part of me that is hoping that this means that Braun Strowman will now get an opportunity to actually compete for something that actually matters, namely the title. So we'll see. But Dana, how about you go tell us what your thoughts were with the Rumble, if there was anything that you enjoyed about it?
Botch. There was a botch. Bobby, your saving grace of a hero, dropped Big Cass, botched that move. Overall, I thought it was, it was a little messy. It's too many people, as we already know. It's 50 people. I thought that it was long. It felt long. There was too many people. It felt like it was just a mess, but it was better than a women's Royal Rumble. Overall, for me, I expected more. Like the surprises that they had, the Babu, I don't know his name. That guy.
That dude was huge. The guy from NXT, the one that they introduced. I've never seen him before.
He's huge. Dan Matha. I don't know any of these people.
What about the Samoan dude that showed up?
Oh gosh, I forgot his name.
I don't even know, but that was out of nowhere. It was like, oh, he's a retired Samoan wrestler. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was just really, really random. I just, for a company that has over 200 and something wrestlers, I would have just expected a little bit more. Hornswoggle? That was not the surprise I was looking for.
That was crazy.
That was a little cool. Great Khali was expected.
I was like, what?
Yep. Great Khali was expected. Rey Mysterio Jr. we already knew about. But I just expected a little bit more. It's nice to see Chris Jericho. No, we're not getting Hogan. Stop.
I was really expecting. I was like, if there's any way or any place to bring him in, it would be this one, because I don't think those people give two shits about his comments or anything. They would just
gosh. Well, no.
He would have got a huge pop.
See, here's the thing. That could have worked, but WWE is already in such deep doo-doo by not having women there. That added on to the Finn Balor not having his shirt, Sami Zayn not being allowed, and then you're going to have Hogan? Oh, God, no. That would have just been too much. No, Black Jesus. Too much now. So, overall, I thought that it was okay. Everybody was surprised that they was, excited for Rey Mysterio. Just because the crowd itself was dead inside. So I was surprised about that. Other than that, you had Titus O'Neil. That, of course, was the highlight of everything. Just that whole, yeah. But see, It worked. It was a mess, but see, it worked because, it got people talking about the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, people talking about Titus again. That's enough.
And Titus again.
No one cared. I could not. Oh, that's.
And it was funny, but it was one of those moments that it was just naturally funny. But then Vince killed the mood by showing the clip every 2 seconds.
It's Vince McMahon's sense of humor. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He loves midgets and he loves things like that.
Falling people. Yeah, but that was, yeah. I mean, Brian, to me, obviously, I'm surprised he's still alive. His neck is still intact. Good for him. I would have loved for him to win. I'm not upset that Braun won, but I would have kind of love for Brian to, win. Shane, I don't know why he keeps coming back. It's like Undertaker, just go away.
He was just that, but you loved him. Remember, you were all for him. You liked all
See,
his
yeah,
matches.
when he first
now
came
you
back after being
backtracking.
gone no, stop. After him being gone for like 10 years and seeing him come back, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And the way that they brought him back, it was those moments where it was like, oh, if only Shane was here. Remember they was having that whole family dispute thing? And then Shane just magically came in there. So yes, I was in my feelings. I was feeling the nostalgia running all through me. Now it's just gone. It's empty. I'm drained. I don't want it no more.
And he did he did another big spot, taking that toe slam to the table.
Yep, and he did the coast to coast thing.
Did the coast
with the drop. That was good.
No, it wasn't good, but okay.
No, it was good for like, what is he, 53? For a 53-year-old man, it was pretty good.
Yeah. No, he still doesn't do it right. But
he never did it right.
He's no RVD.
Exactly, he's no RVD, and that's what sucks that he's using RVD.
He's 48, by the way. 48 years old, so he's old.
Oh, well, see, I was close. 53. That's close. Round it up. No, it was okay. I don't like Big Cass. I'm sorry. He can't wrestle. He's just big. And I know that's what Vince loves, but I don't like him at all. I don't know why he came back.
All right. I just will make a comment real quick, and then we can get Ricky and Adam. You can say your thoughts on the Rumble. I just want to make a comment about the Big Cass thing. I don't like Big Cass either, but I will say this. I still remember that promo he cut against Enzo. That was one of the best promos he's ever cut. And the promo he had with Daniel Bryan this past week on SmackDown wasn't horrible. So he obviously has been working on his promo ability to some extent. But obviously, he still has a way.
Well, it's not even that. It's just he should have came back with a whole new gimmick, is my point. He needs a whole new gimmick. He's still bragging about, I'm just a big 7'2". It's obvious. We know that. Add something else. Pull an Adam Bomb. Remember Adam Bomb with the nukes, or do something.
Mm-hmm.
Just change it up. Just don't be the big man and think that you deserve everything because you're the big man. It's been played out. We've seen so many people do it over and over again. I mean, look at Braun. Braun is destroying people. So he's not just a big man. He is a destroyer. Get these hands. That's his gimmick. What's your thing? You're just big, so you deserve it? I mean, what? You do a big boot? You don't even advertise that. I mean, you don't. He's just so generic. And I would think that with all the time he had off, that he was coming up with ideas and at least handing it off to creative. I know they can't do it, but hey, listen, you're probably not thinking about me because you got actual stuff going on. But hey, these are some ideas. Run it by Vince. Maybe he'll like one of them. And I'm sure Vince talks to him because he's a big guy. He only talks to big men. So he's like, oh, you're a big guy. Okay, you got ideas. Could have been doing something better than just coming back as Big Cass.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, absolutely. And also, Bobby Lashley needs work because that botch was like murder.
He almost killed him.
He did.
They were like, he turned it into a brain buster. No, I don't think
they played it off as like it was intentional, like, oh, brain buster, except that's a banned move by WWE.
Yeah, it's banned, and then on top of that, you see the man's legs give out and just wavering over the rope. It was a mess. It was like watching a women's Royal Rumble. I'm sorry.
Oh, whoa.
And the ring, and the ring should have been bigger. See, maybe it was best.
That's such a misogynist thing to say.
I'm a woman, I can say it. No, they need work. We all know that they need work. I'm not knocking them. It's amazing. They're doing the whole revolution thing, just not in Saudi Arabia. They're being treated as an equal, just not in Saudi Arabia. And they need work, just like Bobby Lashley does, clearly.
Uh-oh. Ouch. Okay. All right. So,
but then even after that, they went back and they said, it's hard to get your bearings when there's so many people in the ring, and I think you don't have the and that's true. But then he shouldn't have done that spot. And I get they want to do it because that shows his power, and it's impressive to see. But you got to see your situation, and there's not a lot of space to pull a move off like that in that type of match.
And also, what happened with the ring situation in general? I thought it would have been a lot bigger.
No, I didn't.
Real, that's what I don't get.
Where did you think that? Like, when
Because
did
you
you ever
having
see them in
50
large in a ring?
guys.
Yeah, but that
Because
doesn't
there's
mean they're all gonna.
50.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they're all gonna be in at the same time. Think about it. The same amount of guys we saw during at one time in here is the same we've seen in a 30. I mean, they just chuck people out. They get a big guy and he just chucks people out. You know, they got Braun in and he chucked a bunch of people out.
I
There
just
was
thought
somebody else before that came in and chucked a bunch of people out. Elias came in and started chucking people out.
I thought that at least for, Saudi Arabia, you're going to make it special, make the ring at least, a foot bigger.
Nah, that ruins people. That throws them off, especially for their moves. That throws
They
a lot
wasn't
of people
paying
off.
attention anyway, either way.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, side note, I like the belt. I don't know why. I'm getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja feel, but I really do like the belt.
What? Oh, the belt that he won.
Yeah, the belt he won. I thought it was really. I thought it was pretty.
I thought it was just going to be the trophy. What's the point of the belt? Like, is he going to wear
What's
it?
the point of this whole match?
The point was just to have I thought it was a trophy, just like, any kind of event.
No,
like, hey, you're just the greatest Royal Rumble trophy holder or something. It's
I don't
like
know.
King of the Ring. You had a crown.
It's like the Andre Giant thing. You win it, you get a trophy, and that's it.
Right.
It doesn't do
That's
anything.
it. But when you give a belt, we're all expecting him to wear it.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe it's just when they're in the Middle East or something, or in that area again, it'll be defended. I don't know how.
He has to have another Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, you go. So then, like, it just passes down from winner to winner to winner. So it's like it's their belt over there. But it's well designed. I liked how it was designed. I like the side. It looked like it had a little tree and the symbols, and it's nice. It's really pretty.
She likes the tree.
I like that. I like that it's green because it's definitely the right color for all the money involved in this.
Money.
That's a good one.
Then they brought that up too when they were like, what move was it? When Shane does the kicks, it's called the money kick, because they kept saying it was like, that he was doing Daniel Bryan does his kicks. Remember when they were doing the kicks back and forth, and they said, when
the yes kick,
the yes kick, it was like, they're doing double yes kicks. He's like, yeah, you don't say that when Shane does it. It's called the money kick. I'm like, what? When did that happen? But I guess maybe Vince was feeding that, and no, it's called the money kick. It's the same shit.
Yeah, the first time I've ever heard the money kick. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, Ricky, any thoughts? Any other thoughts you want to share on the Royal Rumble?
Oh, absolutely. So Hiroki Sumi, I guess, is a professional sumo wrestler, and that's why none of us have ever heard of him. Because
we don't want sumo.
That makes sense. Let's have a sumo wrestler.
That's what they said. They were like, "Oh yeah, sumo wrestler." I'm like, "Okay, that's weird," but he's there.
I said apparently. So, we had Rey Mysterio come out there, and if you notice that, so you remember Rey Mysterio coming into the Royal Rumble, the real Royal Rumble earlier this year, and he was looking real jacked, son. He was looking real jacked, bro. This time he was covered up, and I think that the reason why he was covered up is because they have this kind of rule where any tattoos with crosses have to be covered.
Yeah, and, religious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that would explain why Ray was all covered up for that, to cover up the tattoos there.
But the thing is, that's tricky because I gotta look up this UFC card because there's so many UFC fighters that have tattoos with like crosses and shit like that. So how does that? Let me see.
I don't know. Nothing's really consistent on this thing, but let's see. I'm just kind of looking through all the people in there. Tucker Knight. I see that Tucker Knight was in there, and I think that's because he helped train these like prospects, I guess, for this whole like Saudi Arabia tryout stuff. So that's probably his reward was, getting 10 minutes in the match. In the Royal Rumble. What else? We never got the New Day on the ring at the same time, just two of them, which was kind of a shame. I wanted to see what would happen if all three were in there, but that probably might have been too much of an advantage.
Like even when he tried to do the Kofi, how he always has find some way to stay in the ring. I felt that was kind of like, well, all right, well, you're holding on to, Xavier, and then he does that whole thing where he carries him up to the top, and then he jumps off of him. And I was like, eh.
Yeah, it kind of embodies the whole show where everything was kind of half-assed. It's like, okay, I'll do a daring escape, but it's not going to be quite so daring. It's just, I don't want to give away a good escape for next year's Royal Rumble, that kind of thing. I do want to. Actually, I'll end my Royal Rumble part on that, on the note I was going to say. But before that, Roderick Strong, I thought that was cool to see him in it. I hated that he ran to the ring because I love that theme song and the Undisputed Era. But yeah, Titus, of course, Titus stole the show with that botch of all botches. I think what really sold it was Corey Graves kind of losing it in commentary. I think he really sold it for me. But even at the beginning, you just see like the first shot you see of Titus is him crawling out from under the ring, and Michael Cole's like, oh my God. What just happened?
Yeah. Michael Cole, something was up. Michael Cole, I think, was drunk. I think he was on some drugs or something, because he was screaming and going nuts to the point that even Corey was like, "What is going on with you? Oh my God!" And he was breathing heavy and stuff. I'm like, "What is happening to Cole?"
I thought it was hilarious, the spot where Braun Strowman throwing Shane McMahon onto the table, and he's like, put him down. Oh my God. He's the only person in the whole stadium making any kind of noise. Like you could hear a pin drop otherwise.
Yeah, and then a part of me was thinking, I was like, maybe he's trying to copy Moro. Maybe he wants to be more like the way Moro is. But Moro sounds very genuine when he's doing it all. Scream, Mamma Mia, and going all nuts and stuff. I was like, I don't know. But it just felt, it didn't sound right. Like
it's very forced with Cole. I can't stand him.
No one likes Cole. Not even Cole likes Cole.
And then let's see. I love Chris Jericho, but he was not in condition for this appearance. That's about the nicest thing I can say.
Ouch.
He was not in wrestling shape. It's quite evident.
Well, hey, he has too many other side projects. He's got his family, he's got his concerts and shit. It's amazing that he still wants to wrestle.
Bless the guy for that. I'm even Jericho not at his best. It's still better than a lot of other people. And so I thought it was cool to see him out there and everything. And the whole thing with Kevin Owens telling him, like, go back to Japan. We don't want you here was a funny thing. I gotta say that I felt kind of bad that Daniel Bryan went through all that and got tossed out. I understand them doing it to kind of put over the feud with Big Cass and everything. But it goes back to the point I was going to make that Adam made much earlier, that Vince focuses on the big guys. And so that's why at the end, you didn't have Daniel Bryan winning it or even the runner-up. You had Braun Strowman versus Big Cass, two tall individuals. Mm-hmm. Big Cass, who's all of 6'9", but billed at 7 feet, against Braun Strowman, who was a legit strong guy, and was the right guy to win it. I'm sure Bryan was still happy as hell to really push his limits as much as he could.
Well, I said this off the air. I mean, the way that they had advertised that, oh, wow, Bryan broke the record. He's been in there over an hour and some odd minutes and this and that. But I'm like, that doesn't apply because this is a 50-man Rumble. This is going on a lot longer. Mm-hmm. So I don't see how he's breaking any records. I think he's made a new record for this match type. So, yeah, for a 50-man Rumble, he holds that record.
Yeah, for a 50-man Rumble, but I don't think that it should count in general with Rumbles.
No.
Strowman having the elimination record. Bryan having the time record, but it's 50 men, not 30, not 40 like the one time that Del Rio won it. 50, and it was on a house show. It was a house show. That's exactly what it was. So doesn't count. Sorry. It just doesn't count.
It counts.
We don't hate. We just spit the truth.
It's not the truth. It
hurts.
existed. It's real. Leave the man alone and let him have his record.
The New Day point I wanted to make real quickly was that, and I can't take credit for this, but someone online had this really cool theory of like putting the WWE title on Kofi Kingston by having the New Day win the Money in the Bank, and then have them kind of figure out who's going to cash in, and then when the right time comes, have Kofi be the one to cash in and win it, and that they would do that for him, and that would kind of be their last good deed together as a team before splitting up.
I
don't see them ever splitting up.
Well,
I really don't see it. The way that they keep, they make so much money. And I feel like every time they probably get like there's a discussion backstage. Well, we might have to break you up. They add some new gimmick that gets over, like pancakes and shit. Like, oh, but look, we got some pancakes, and he takes it and starts slapping it around. I was like, what the hell? But it's getting over. People get a reaction, so it sort of freshens it up in a weird way. And I think that's what keeps them together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of basing that off of, I guess, like a recent interview that Xavier Woods had, where he said that he would get more joy out of Kofi winning the WWE title than if Xavier himself had won it, and that was the goal of New Day, was to propel Kofi to that point where he would be a world champion. They have that much respect for him.
Both of them.
Yeah,
he's been there.
Yeah, he's like the big brother to them, and they respect him that much. And I think it would be cool if they did something like that. I don't see it ever happening, but it would be kind of a neat thing.
I don't know if it was on a network or maybe it's just an interview, but I remember it was recently Kofi Kingston was talking about that. He's just amazed that he's still there because he had such a horrible gimmick. Remember, he was a Jamaican guy and he was doing all that, and and he's doing all that stuff, and he was like, he felt like it was not going to last. He was like, you know what, his Tropic Thunder and all that. He was like, yeah, this is not going to last.
It was over though. It was over at the beginning. It was just that Randy Orton squashed it, and then that was it.
And then that was it. And then one day he came out and DX was there and he started talking to him and said, hey, what happened to your accent? Remember?
Yeah.
And then they goofed on it because it was just gone. And I figured that's something that they were going to do with Rusev, because now Rusev is doing a lot more talking.
Mm-hmm. What happened to Lana? Is she still there?
She's still there. She's got that. She's doing that TV show stuff and behind the scenes appearances and all that other. Yeah. But but he's still there, and he was like, it's still amazing, and this whole thing is happening. He's like, this is all overtime. He didn't think it was ever going to be possible that he would even get to this point. So yeah, even though he hasn't won a big title, I mean, he's still relevant. He's part of one of the most popular tag teams, of this generation. And I'm sure they'll end up in the Hall of Fame, all three of them together.
Yeah. Oh, no question about it. No question. And I think that out of those three, Kofi's the only one that would have had a shot on his own. The three are definitely a Hall of Fame tandem.
Y'all just giving Hall of Fame out to everybody.
Hey, listen, you're the one that like Jeff Jarrett getting in there.
Okay? If Jeff can get in, everybody can get in.
If Jeff gets in, then there's no limits.
Double J.
Is the road
against Jeff.
Hey, ain't I great?
Don't piss me off.
See, now here's wait. This is all related to Jeff Jarrett. When they were saying that we were going to see legends in this Royal Rumble, it was just Mark Henry. I thought that Double J for sure was going to pop up in this. I'm like, but
we got the Great Khali.
Is he a Hall of Famer? He's not a Hall of Famer.
He's not. I'm just saying.
But that was what they were saying. They were saying that we're gonna have Hall of Famer legends and all that stuff. I was like, all right, and Mark Henry's the only one.
Adam,
Kurt Angle. We got Kurt Angle on it.
And Kurt Angle. That's right. Kurt Angle did.
Yeah. Adam, it wasn't possible for Jeff Jarrett to make it because he had an AA meeting that took place.
Okay, I got you. They gotta talk to him on the flight because I'm sure there's a few other people in the back that have some drinking issues. So they could have all worked with him. Kurt Angle could have helped with that. They could have did a little something in aisle 4.
Wow.
Everyone's getting buried, not just Rusev.
That's it. Exactly. Everybody's taking it. You know, but no, I really did think Double J was going to be in it. Just like I thought Hulk Hogan. I thought they were going to just say, you know what, this is overseas, and let's just throw everything at it.
No.
And they did. They threw a lot of stuff at it. I mean, hell, Hornswoggle.
Well, remember, he's Vince's son, so.
Yeah, well, let's see if they bring. But that's the thing. Is it a one-off for him, or is he back?
Oh no, that's.
I think he's back.
That's a one-off.
No, he's back.
Ah,
I think he's back. Well, then
He has to be back.
The way they advertise Ray is that Ray is back.
Ray is back.
They
yeah.
were like, he makes his. They were like, oh, he makes his return here. This is his return, you know, as opposed to just appearing. You know,
You just have to understand something. When they say somebody is back, I'm pretty sure you will not see them every week on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
This is somebody who will show up every now and again, especially Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio's not back because he's said that when he's recovered from his injury, he wants to fight Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
Why?
They were supposed to have that match at.
Jushin's older now. We don't need to see that match either.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of these dream matches. Yeah, when he was doing it over in Ring of Honor last year, and it's just like, yeah, I get it. He created a shitload of moves, but it's just not the same. I don't know. He can't do a lot of them anymore. The high flying stuff. He's older.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to it. But I mean, Rob Van Dam, remember when he would only show up at the Rumbles? And they were like one-off events, but he was still under contract. He would do other appearances stuff, but he would show up. So maybe it's that type of deal where Ray just pops up in random spots and different matches.
Could be a paper appearance thing.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Well, maybe like that. Maybe he has the deal that Brock has. You know, and I know they wanted to get him full time. You know, and that's the issue. He does not want to do that full time.
Yeah, he said, "To hell with that."
Yeah, but because he makes money. That's the thing. Every time they put him on any show, he just brings money. The kids come out, they sell all this merch with the masks, you know, and all that stuff happens. So, but now they go on the mask, the stalker, and all that stuff. So, who knows if that'll be a thing? But
I want to bring this back to the show, the Greatest Royal Rumble thing, and just how so Braun Strowman won it, and good, good that they have a big guy win, the Royal Rumble and all that. What I feel about the show itself in general was that it was a big propaganda thing, and that WWE took the money because it's easy money for the shareholders, and they're very happy about it. But the whole video of video they showed about like the women crying because they can drive now over there and things like that, it's just like, come on, like I hope this is not what we're going to get for 10 years.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Were they showing that live, like in the crowd? Were the crowd seeing
No.
that?
No.
That's what I was saying. I mean,
No.
sure
We got to
weren't
see it.
So why?
I think they went off to go pray.
Because the whole thing about this, from what I'm understanding, is that, they're trying to, they have a lot of policies and laws that I guess other countries don't agree with, or they have to find ways to appeal to other countries to do business with them, apart from just oil. So it's like, okay, we're gonna. So I could be wrong about this because I'm not really all that into politics and all that, but I think that this whole thing of this like 2030 plan was that they're gonna try to show like they're being more progressive, and this is really just part of a big one big publicity stunt. And it's like, we're going to have WWE as a platform for us to show that, look, we're starting to adopt more Western, ideals a little. But we'll do that by discriminating against women from appearing on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and then apologizing for having them dare show women in a WWE network thing. It's just like, it's backwards. It's like baby steps backwards. That's what that whole thing is.
I mean, everything is scripted out, so I don't think we're gonna see whenever these girls come out and shoot their promos, promote their matches, if anyone's gonna crack jokes on the fact that, what did you do on Friday? Oh, I was watching, TV and eating bonbons. I wonder if they're gonna crack any jokes about the fact that they weren't part of that show. Or are they just gonna make it seem like it didn't happen? You know what I mean? Like that none of that happened.
I mean, it might be a thing. If they crack jokes, they'll probably just be on social media, but not like actually on TV because they don't want to piss off the don't bite the hand that feeds you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
I'm sure it's coming. It's going to come up in interviews whenever they do like just media interviews.
Well, they had Triple H had like several interviews. Remember, JBL was on Fox News.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's always on
females.
Fox.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the females.
I don't know if they're
like. So, what are your thoughts on this whole thing of them going over there and you're not being involved, or females not being involved? Because remember,
they'll probably give a PR script
when they did that other speech where they had their matches like wearing all covered up. Where was that? That was in India.
Oh, that was Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, and they still wrestled, but it wasn't filmed, right? I don't think they filmed.
No, it was a house show, and they were all covered up. And the thing was, and I heard this, that WWE was publicizing it as like the first time that women competed there, but it wasn't. I guess TNA had done a show there prior to that, but hey, it's the first time WWE did it, so it's the first time anything's happened.
Yeah, that's But it seems so. When they did that, I wonder why they couldn't, because women just can't do anything over there. So I guess that was it. But
it's extremely conservative, policies and crap. But I think it's a shame, and I'll admit that when I got done watching, and then I got done watching when I got done watching the whole show, even though I fast forward to like half of it, it felt like a waste of time because it did really feel like a house show. The Rumble itself didn't feel as special as past Rumbles that we've seen. I think part of it was the energy was lacking. I didn't feel like the fans were that into it, and that might have just been because they were too far away from the ring. And then this whole stuff that came afterwards about, we apologize for showing any women being indecent, all that, it really pissed me off. Mm-hmm. And I'm not planning on watching any Greatest Royal Rumble from here on out if they do one next year or the year after, because we see that it's already a joke that it's just a house show that's highly expensive, but just a house show, and it's it just not worth it. And I don't know. Like, I understand that WWE's making money off of it, and and if that can trickle down to the other talent, then great. But I don't know. It just feels dirty to me, and I hope that they're not doing this for 10 years. It just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah. It looks like it's more than that, because the whole thing is they have plans up to 2030. So it's gonna be But Sasha Banks did speak out against it. Well, not against it, but she just said one day. That was like her comment. Is that they're
I don't think so.
one day it'll.
No, because let me tell you something. Okay, like they're so far behind from the rest of the world as far as like women's rights and things like equality and women's rights and things like that. Wrestling is not going to change that. They're not even going. It's not even going to put a dent in that kind of thing.
Definitely not, because that's almost pornographic if you think about it. It's like these girls are pretty much coming out in their underwear, and they're
even if they were all covered up like they did in Abu Dhabi, that's I don't know.
Well, that's that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but
let's never speak of this house show again.
I agree.
Well,
I agree.
If you think about it, the only thing that came from it that will continue on, I think, story-wise on the main product, it's just the Brock and Roman, that outcome, because that's it. Roman's shot is done. Who's next? We don't know. It's definitely not going to be Roman. You can't have him do more shows back to back, because obviously he has to do the Joe match. And I don't know why, but I have a feeling Joe's going to win that one. You can't have Roman go over on that. Joe just came back from injury, and the first thing he does is start jobbing out. Come on now. So.
Oh yeah, of course you can. Since SmackDown is the B show.
No, and even that doesn't make sense. He got traded off. Then it's like, if you know that, why did you put this match together?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because it's the best of both worlds. They have to promote we're doing these brands working together. We're not you know.
On the same show, but not cross matchmaking like this.
Yeah, I know. They usually save that for like WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's something special, like Champions of Champions or something like that. Those type of things.
Yeah.
And then the singing, I don't get that. I don't get the whole
singing. It was horrible.
Why are they doing that? What's the whole point of this song where they're lip singing?
Yeah.
And I don't get it. It's not even them saying. So why do that?
What, that promo?
Cheesy.
Because WWE is absolutely dreadful when it comes to advertising their product. Like, I hate their WWE shop one where they're using fan chants like, what's it, this is awesome and all that stuff to promote you deserve it to promote that. Because, I already think those chants are played out, and now you're using that to prop up your own, products. They're very bad with advertising. So like the whole thing with them lip syncing, like, okay, it was amusing maybe the first time I saw it on YouTube, but now they're showing it every opportunity. Sometimes they're showing it twice on a show. It's just like, okay, you've killed it now. That's no longer, it's an instant mute button for me.
I never liked it to begin with. I think it's very childish.
It reminds me of the old WWE album. Remember when it had all the people singing?
I have that.
Yeah, the record.
I remember one of the Slammies where they all sang, it's lip syncing, but they all did that at the end. If you only know.
Well, singing is a part of the company. That's always been that thing. Remember the whole Vince McMahon when he came out and started performing with the Slammies? Stand Back or something was his name of the song? He did the Girls in Cars skit. I think
he did start singing. I remember that he was on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Vince can dance. He can dance. That's one thing. He's always had that. Always had that to him. But yeah, we were complaining about the terrible advertising, but what was the subject before that? We've completely lost the. We've completely lost the plot.
That was it. Number one. We all agreed that was it. Braun, it's fine. Big man win it. That's no surprise there. And he's got a belt.
Yay!
A belt that he may or may not defend and probably shouldn't defend. I think it's just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
The same thing like when anytime a sports team wins, Triple H, gives them a belt kind of thing. So that's probably just what that is. But yeah, Greatest Royal Rumble was a bust. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Greatest is the wrong name. I think that lamest Royal Rumble, that's a much better name. But there's a lot of names that it would be better to describe how horrible the show was. But it is what it is. I believe that's pretty much it. If you guys don't have any final thoughts to say on the show, we're going to get ready to wrap up our show. So any final shout outs that you want to give? Adam, you go first.
Give a shout outs to all the listeners, the viewers, people that download the show later on and just follow up on wrestling because they don't watch the hours and hours and hours of wrestling content, and that's cool. That's what we're here for. Shout out to everybody that supports and watches Throwdown and goes on the Koalition site, read all the great reviews. Just shout out to everybody on the internets. Peace.
Absolutely. Any shout outs from you, Dana?
Shout out to Batista, who said that he's going to retire within a year and that he just basically doesn't understand WWE anymore. So.
Wait, you said he's going to retire within a year?
Yeah, within a year.
Retire from acting?
No. From the wrestling.
He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't wrestle anywhere.
Right. He's been trying to get back into wrestling for over a year now.
No, he hasn't. If he wants to get back into wrestling, he can just go to Impact and they will let him in because everybody. Don't tell me he's trying to get back in. No,
we're not going from Marvel to Impact.
Why not?
Go to Lucha Underground. I'll actually back Dana on this. That there was a recent thing about Batista saying that he wants a match with Triple H for WrestleMania 35, and And if he doesn't get it, that he'll retire from wrestling.
He can retire from wrestling.
He says he doesn't want to overstay his welcome. I just want to end my career the right way, and next year will be the last opportunity. So if we can't make something happen by next year, I am officially hanging it up. I am retiring. I love it there. Even though the fans totally crapped on me the last time I was there, I would still go back in a heartbeat. And I love to entertain them, and I would have fun doing it. I'll be happy to be there, but I just don't get it. I don't get that company. I just don't understand.
He's just not interested. He's not. That's one guy's not going in the Hall of Fame. It's not happening for him.
I don't understand why they won't even answer his calls. It's like you're getting Marvel, eyes.
Yeah, it's personal. There's a lot of back office politics with that. Yeah, it's all about what's good for business, but remember he pissed off certain people, so not happening.
Oh my God.
Never say never. Yeah,
never say never.
True, never say never. But if he wanted to come in that bad, hell, he could have been a surprise entry in his damn Rumble.
Well, I mean, I remember that he, obviously he wasn't happy with how things turned out 4 years ago because they brought him back. The timing of it was just terrible because this was at a time when Daniel Bryan was red hot and he was organically the guy for the fans.
And all that,
but it's like, okay, but Batista's back in the Rumble, and now he's going to win the Rumble, and he's booked to win the title off of Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and people weren't feeling that because they felt that after everything that Daniel Bryan went through the previous year and the feud he had with Orton, it just would have made sense to have Bryan be that guy to get that happy ending. So Batista to just get that in out of nowhere made no sense. That's why he was crapped on. And the thing is that when he turned heel, he became more entertaining. And then they had the whole thing with what was it? What was that?
Rey Mysterio. He did a big feud with Rey Mysterio for a while.
That was a good thing, and that was a good feud there. Like give me the spotlight. Batista was always better as a heel, I thought, but he could work as a baby face, even if it's like a part-time thing. And I think that's what he wants. He had said a couple of years ago that he wouldn't mind coming and doing like house shows because those are fun for him, but he doesn't want to be on the road every week with the company.
His gimmick would be perfect because it would be what the Miz's gimmick is, but his more legit because he is from Hollywood. He is doing blockbuster movies, and it would be perfect because remember he did come out with that the suit with the sunglasses, and talk about all this stuff. It would fit perfect. If he came in like that, the cockiness, and he can back it up because he's been in legit movies. Like that's the thing when the Miz comes out and it's funny, and he has been in movies, but when he talks about Marine 6 and well, I was like, all right, it's a bust, but it would be legit for Batista. So I think that would work, but I don't think they would do that because the Miz has that gimmick. So
yeah.
All right, well, there goes that. Let's go.
I got no shout outs other than to all the listeners and support the Koalition. Thank you for checking out this podcast. Check all our other podcasts and shows and continue watching wrestling as usual. That's all I got.
Sounds good. Thank you all for your continued support, and we will talk to you all next week.
There you go. Peace.